new background on This Is Wrestling Live. Lee Versage and the Zote. Zachary McGibbon, the Zach of all trades. Did you do this, Zach? This gold This Is Wrestling OSN. It's tying everything in. Did you do this?
I wish I could take credit for this, Lee, but I cannot. It is very nice though. It was funny. Literally after we did the live show, it was just put into our ears like, we could come up with something better. And then this came out. It's like, whoa.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not me though.
Zach's in black and gold.
That's right.
Oh, back 10 years ago.
Oh, yes.
All right.
That black and gold might be my new Jack Perry for this next run with the way.
Well, you always need to keep up with the times and have something current. We can't always go back to Jack Perry. So the black and gold, I feel like, is a good representation of you lately.
Yeah.
But nice to be able to talk to you. We got a lot of things going on, including Backlash.
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 Backlash. Coming up on Saturday in Tampa with 2 of the 5 matches on free TV.
Get fired up. Backlash.
On ESPN. Like
Backlash.
We're going to go to the pay-per-view segment. 3 matches and a lot of commercials.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
How can you not get fired up for that?
Well, I am. It's 48 hours away. I've told you I'm fired up. If Danhausen's fired up, I'm fired up. And I'm not even going to lie to you that I would have to think about this, but like actively on the roster right now, Danhausen might be my favorite wrestler in the company.
Which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, considering
that's
the state.
Bad thing, considering he doesn't get in the ring. Yes. I know he's getting in the ring at the pay-per-view, but that's a bad thing. However, I think he is. Like, Kevin Owens isn't back yet. We'll talk about Kevin Owens, who did have an announcement through the WWE this week that involves Ottawa and Canada. But like, Kevin Owens is my favorite. I don't know who I would like more right now on WWE television than Danhausen. I'm trying to think right now. Maybe there's somebody, but he's actually fairly entertaining to me.
Yeah. In short bursts, for sure. In short bursts.
I agree. And we know that they'll ruin it. So let us enjoy it now while it's still kind of in short bursts.
Look, I've learned long ago. I'm like, look, this is how it operates. It's fun for a bit. And then they like ring it for everything that it's worth as quickly as possible to the point where then it becomes annoying. And so we're going to embrace it. I've tried to, as I get a little bit older here, Lee, I try to be a little bit more wiser. Instead of being the fun mood killer, I'm like, you know what? Let's just embrace, like, this is Ottawa sports now, right? Let's embrace the now. Let's embrace what's going on now before the inevitable time where I'm loathing him on my screen. So let's just embrace the now. Let's just be positive. Let's just be upbeat. And we'll cross that bridge when we eventually do get there, because it will happen. And I've seen this multiple times over multiple years of watching pro wrestling. But we're going to enjoy this now for what it's worth.
Zach, you are getting old, because you know what old people say? They say, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
It's about the journey.
Because quite frankly, old people just don't have that many destinations left. So they have to enjoy the journeys along the way, right?
Yep, that's right.
And I thought you were going to get to the fact that when the WWE tells you that they're going to do something and then they just overdo it and they make it not special or not fun anymore, I thought you were going to talk about John Cena being like a guest host at Backlash.
Well, oh yes, the announcement that's going to shake the foundation of WWE. Like, whoa, what could that possibly be to shake the foundation? Are we getting more 25% off discount codes? Is that the big announcement that's going to be made by John Cena?
I just wanted to say that he's going to be there. I didn't want to talk about what the announcement might be.
You don't want an extensive, detailed breakdown of what the announcement could be? Maybe John Cena will return the stipulation for Hangman, unlike what we saw on AEW. Maybe that's his big announcement.
Okay. I like it. That
Why would he want to support that? I don't know, but it certainly would be groundbreaking.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, certainly shake the foundation of WWE, that's for sure.
I hesitate to ask you this.
Oh boy.
Do you have any guesses as to what the announcement is?
Oh, honestly, I have no idea. I'm looking as like, what could possibly be like a ground shaking announcement for Backlash? The only thing I could think of is Cena is returning to the ring. That's it.
No way.
And I don't think that's happening. Just for the record. No, that was the thing that came across.
To me, that's a Sam Mitchell. That's a 0-0-0-0-0.
I think fans would react positively to that, unfortunately.
Oh, they would?
Yeah.
Considering what's going on, of course they would. But you think John Cena's waited to get to Backlash to announce he's coming back? Like that's where he's going to do it, at Backlash?
Well, look, did we imagine Gunther was going to be the guy to retire John Cena, or that Cena would turn heel? I mean, there's a lot of things in that final run with Cena that we didn't expect, but we ended up getting it. So what was the thing he said before the foundation shaking? He said, some of the fans might not be too enthralled with this decision. I'm paraphrasing here. And
right.
I'm like, oh, that's great when you have to couch it with that. Like, that's not a good sign.
He was pretty negative about it.
Yeah, I was like, wow, for a big announcement you're making, you're really trying to couch it and just say, you know what, it could be worse. It could be a much worse announcement.
There's been a couple of things circulating. I don't think any of them are positive, but one of them is that he'll announce some type of new draft.
Okay. That would technically be a foundation shaking announcement.
Right. Yep. I wouldn't necessarily be interested or care.
No.
Oh my God, Roman Reigns is going to SmackDown.
Oh my God, I gotta get my SmackDown t-shirt.
I guess.
Loyal to Brad. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. ESPN is one of the big distributors. You don't think they want to try and get some of those draft coverage people involved with try and break down each pick?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I think about that. You know what? Mel Kiper breaking down Danhausen getting drafted to Raw? Like, come on, you got to think of the potential here.
My God. Oh, no.
Todd, let me tell you about Danhausen here. Todd. He curses people, Todd. That's what I saw on tape. I'm telling you.
I didn't think about that. One of the other things that's been going around, and this is interesting, not as an announcement for John Cena at Backlash, but it's an interesting talking point, is that they are going to announce, I don't know exactly what they're going to call it, like Club WWE. They're going to do some sort of like in-house, come and get all your media there, because we see a lot of content creators, especially lately, being shut down by the WWE.
Yep.
And people that go on Instagram or Facebook and they kind of watch along, and they never quite knew how they were allowed to do it. You know more about that stuff than me, but that the WWE is going to basically shut all of these people down and repackage it as a positive, a groundbreaking foundational change. Come and get all of your media here, where they're just going to have their own people review it all. So it's not as negative as the people who are actually doing it right now. This is where sports are going. Everyone wants to do it in-house. Nobody likes negativity, that kind of thing. And they're going to repackage this as some positive announcement, like join Club WWE. Okay, John. Like, do you have to come to the next pay-per-view, really? Like, imagine what John Cena's feeling. Like, I know he's contractually obligated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, oh man.
It's like, buddy, I just retired. Can I just please go to my estate in Florida and just...
Well, that's why he's doing it, because he's close to Tampa, right?
Yep. Like, oh, you're here. Might as well bring you in. You're contractually obligated anyway.
Right.
Otherwise, we'll slash your pay by 50%. So
it's one of those dates like Roman Reigns.
Yes.
Who was
some sort of clerical error. That was the whole issue. Clerical error.
He was wrestling in June, but he's not wrestling in June anymore.
Yeah. He did go out onto the program and say, you'll see my face this summer. But except for June. We're not doing June.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that, but
yeah, he might have muttered it under his breath. And like when you see those commercials, it's like they go really quickly. It's like taxes apply, da 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 da. Side effects include da 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 da. Like they go very quickly. I think that's what happened there with Roman Reigns and
but usually in those commercials, it's a drug for somebody who's old that has more journeys than destinations left, and it's a 60-second commercial where the product reveal is the first 7 seconds, and the next 52 seconds are somebody talking like that.
Yeah. Side effects of being a WWE fan include incessant defending of the product.
You know what, Zach? I'm not going to lie. I think you should do it. I actually think that you should do that and do like the 7 or 8 seconds, like, Club WWE, it's going to be awesome, blah, blah, blah. And then do your 52 seconds of just straight all of the side effects and negativity that can be had if you purchase Club WWE. I think this is we've stumbled upon something here.
I think we really have. Side effects include stalking wrestlers into the bathroom.
Right.
But just all the different things that could happen when you're a member of Club WWE. So what I'm taking here, Lee, is that you are not going to be a member of Club WWE. That's officially announced.
So we know that this is the way of the world, and I don't want to get too political here, especially on a live wrestling show. Yep. But with what's been happening down south for, quite a while, where they just tell you what the truth is, whether it's the truth or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's happened in sports like more and more. I do still think that there is some independent journalism out there, but it's becoming harder and harder to find. That's why OSN's going to be so good.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mumbled that under my breath, but
yeah,
that's why OSN's going to be so good.
Hell yeah, brother.
But the WWE has kind of shown this for a while that, hey, we're going to partner with ESPN and they're going to put out grades. Yeah, we don't like those grades, so we're going to stop that. We're just not going to do that, and we're going to not credential the ESPN people coming in to review our places. But we have a great partnership. Like, it's awesome.
We're buddy over here.
Just an incredible partnership.
Yep.
But we're going to stop them from writing articles. And even though they're almost somewhat biased anyway, they're not biased enough. So we're going to stop them from doing that. And then we're not going to credential people to come in and review it because we don't want those type of people here. But we have a great partnership. So it's just becoming more and more and more like that, where the WWE to me is becoming this. We're just going to tell you what's going to happen. We're going to tell you what the ticket prices are. We're going to tell you who's on. We don't want you to talk back. This feels like when I was a kid, and this isn't a great thing, just I was told a lot. Maybe that's why I talk so much. You need to be seen and not heard. Like and that's not great parenting, really. Like, but as a young kid and you were sort of talking out or, making a scene somewhere, whatever you were doing. And it's kind of what it feels like, that the WWE is just going to treat everybody like you should be seen, you should cheer, but you should not be heard. Unless you're going to say something really great about us. And that's just the way it feels.
Yep.
And so this Club WWE feels more and more like that. We're gonna produce our own content. We're gonna have all these people on talking about it. Sam Roberts. And then we're just gonna tell you how great it is all the time, no matter what. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even before TKO, that's been a little bit of the WWE motto as well, where if they can control it and they can,
Yep.
oversee it and get some sort of a cut out of it. Like, remember a while back when the wrestlers, as another source of income, they would go on Twitch or whatever the video game
Yep.
streaming platforms were, and then the WWE put out the decree, no, that's not happening anymore. We're taking your cut of Twitch if you are going to stream, because you are using, we essentially help make you to where you can even go on Twitch to stream and make money.
Right.
And that ended up being a big talking point at that time. That's the WWE motto, and it's going to be especially the case now with the way that more cuts, the 50% cuts that are now being rumored out there, and them trying to make sure the balance sheet looks very, very good when it comes to their quarterly reports. So it's part of the game, and especially in this case, if you can have more people be pro to you out and essentially push your PR, it really helps you as WWE. It really helps. It keeps the Lever Sages away from calling into the Sam Roberts show
Right.
from discussing big time angles.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. We might do it in the next hour. Whatever, Sam. I know Sam didn't pick up the phone,
Yeah.
but every time I did it again. I did it again today. I did it again last Thursday, where I turned it on stupidly. Feel like stupidly is also going to be a segment. Thinking that they'd be talking AEW in the first segment because AEW Dynamite was on last night.
Yep.
And like last Thursday, they're literally having a debate on the greatest WrestleManias of all time. The guy called in and was like, I know this is going to be an unpopular take, but I think it was. And like, it was just one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. And this guy was going on defending it. And I'm just like, I'm out. Like, I cannot do this. AEW was on. It was right after the Ciampa Darby Allin match.
Yep.
That's when it was. And I'm like, okay, he's got to be talking about this because nothing happened in WWE last night. Nothing. And then we had this great main event in AEW, and they were arguing about the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Like, oh, okay. By the way, our buddy Chris is in, says I'm just out with the wife. Won't catch this live, but love the new look.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Chris. I did it myself. I appreciate that.
By hand. And he's very technically savvy, so he knew to take it from by hand and turn it into something into the software and bring it. That's the background. So,
Zach, is it on the screen?
It is on the screen.
And did you put it on the screen?
I did not put it on the screen.
Well,
no.
then who put it on the screen, Zach? Who put it on the screen? This guy.
After I told you to put it on the screen. But yes.
Well, that was before the show, Zach.
Kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe.
That was before the show. When the show started, it was on.
It was on.
That's factually correct. And I'm telling you the truth, Zach. I put this on.
Yes, you did. There might have been a little bit of a nudge to put it on, but you did put it on.
There might have been a bigger nudge to the person who made it in the first place so that I could put it on. But who cares about that stuff?
That's just technicalities.
All right. So I guess we should actually talk about Backlash. I don't have any other guesses for the announcement. I think it's this stupid club WWE or a stupid draft. Everything's stupid today. I don't know why. And stupid not in the way that people talk about stupid now. Like, that's stupid. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Not that way.
No, not that kind of stupid.
Not that kind of stupid.
More when I'm watching something on TV, I'm like, that's so stupid. Like right. That's how just like this disdain in the voice. And I look down and I'm like, what am I doing with my life to get to this point? Stupid. Right. You know,
you question everything about you at that point. Yeah.
Like that segment at WrestleMania when Danhausen came out with all the little Danhausens, and I'm like, God, I hope nobody walks in at this particular moment, because that might be a new low for me as a wrestling fan. But nonetheless,
do you have any guesses as to what it might be before we actually move to the card?
I'll go with the draft. I'll say it's the WWE draft is coming back, and Cena's excited to bring it, and it'll shake its foundation shakingly. So I think Mel Kiper will make an appearance. Maybe Daniel Jeremiah will make an appearance now that ESPN has bought NFL Network.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to imagine Daniel Jeremiah in his head's like, I used to be a scout for the Chargers or
Right.
one of the NFL. And it's like, now I'm here trying to give a full extensive breakdown of what I see in our truth in the year of our Lord 2026. So, like that's, you know what? The more I talk about, the more I kind of want to see it. So I'll say the draft. Big breakdown of like just sitting at the desk, breaking down, looking through the tape of everything he's seen from Kit Wilson. Like that's what I want from Daniel Jeremiah.
Can you tell me too? Like, I guess I don't know the background. I should listen to it. But
Yeah.
Kit Wilson was on Cody Rhodes'
Yes.
podcast. Is Kit Wilson big enough to be on the Cody Rhodes podcast? Like, should I care enough to listen for an hour or an hour and a half to Kit Wilson talking to Cody Rhodes?
I personally, like, I saw it's like, all right, I'll skip this week. And
right. Like, what are they doing?
I like you really want me to sit there and listen to how he got over? I'm like, it's because he's got a catchy song. It's not because of his look or anything like that. Like, got a catchy song that people like to
his
do.
look. It's not because he's great in the ring.
No.
Like,
and he does his little muscle man pose when he walks into the ring, and it's like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get ready for the WWE draft. Get your Raw t-shirt.
Just imagine if they do the WWE draft and like localize it or just put it like just in Club WWE. Like you have to be a member of Club WWE to get in and find out what happened in the draft.
Yes. So you can see the numbers and selections like, whoa, I didn't expect this guy to go 16th, like.
Oh my God. Okay. So the Backlash card, from what I'm led to believe, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Trick Williams, Sami Zayn will be on the free show on ESPN.
Yes.
Well, there's only 5 matches to go through here. So Trick Williams being on ESPN again against Sami Zayn. And I just read an article about Sami Zayn. I believe it was with the Toronto Sun.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Yeah. Talking about the fact that he's going to push back that he's a heel now. He's an undefined character. Like he's a tweener. He from night to night. And he had all these ridiculous things to say. Like, honestly, I like Sami Zayn a lot, but trying to explain like where he is and why, they've done what they've done with his character. And it's just this ongoing, basically they have no idea. And I'm trying to play this one a little different because each week is so different, and we're kind of writing these reactions. He said that this idea that we're kind of split the audience, but sometimes things just don't work out exactly how you envision it, and it's exciting to know that you don't know exactly where it's going to go. Hey, Sammy, over here, Sammy. They don't know where it's going to go. How the hell could you know where it's going to go? Frustrating.
It's what we do.
It's frustrating.
Yep.
Because I like Sami Zayn, and he's trying to explain where his character is going, but he has literally no idea where his character is going. So he's trying to explain it to a media outlet like this is a good thing. He finds it refreshing, interesting. It's showing up to work and not knowing what to expect. That's awesome. Every day.
Now, I know Sami Zayn is a great seller in the ring, but even that's a little bit too tough for him to try and go out there to the broadcast outlets and try to explain that one away.
He said, although to be fair, if you kick a mannequin gingerbread man below the belt, I know that might upset some people because people want to have fun. Sammy, don't talk about the gingerbread man, please.
What was going through his mind as he's saying that out loud? to the
Right.
interviewer and being like, yeah, I'm being interviewed by I'm being interviewed by the Sun here, the Toronto Sun. And I have to explain my current storyline where the gingerbread man is a focal point of the storyline.
I'm going to take Trick Williams.
I think that's a fair guess there, Lee. I'm also going to pick Trick Williams. Could we see a gingerbread man, coming back from the dead and running in the match? I can't rule it out, Lee. I simply cannot rule it out.
No,
I'm not saying it's happening.
You're saying it, and I'm almost in my head going, "Oh, yeah, they would do that.
They absolutely
would. They would, and Sammy would turn heel because the gingerbread man would help him win the U.S. title from Trick Williams. But then Trick Williams is now mad at the gingerbread man, and Trick Williams is going to put the gingerbread man back in the hospital. Yep. And then when there's no gingerbread man, Trick Williams is going to come out and say, I demand my rematch now with the gingerbread man not there. Yep. One-on-one. We just need to go one-on-one. I could see it. I actually saw a report as we move on to Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker. I actually saw a report on Tuesday that said that Roman Reigns was genuinely not happy and pissed off that Seth Rollins stole his moment. They were trying to make it out behind the scenes like Roman Reigns was actually mad because when he was going to the ring, he thought he was actually going to the ring. And then Seth Rollins said, you're in my way. And then Seth Rollins went out and Roman Reigns was unhappy. Someone's trying to put it out there like that's a real thing backstage. Yeah,
with the video, and Adam Pearce is there being like, look, I'm just, that's my job is to talk and look oversee and blah, blah, blah. Yep. It's a shoot, brother.
No, it's not, Zach.
Oh, what? No?
No.
It's not a shoot?
No wonder Roman's not coming in June.
Clerical error. Happens to the best of us.
Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. If they do not put Braun Breaker over in this spot, they are dumber than I thought. Honestly.
Yeah.
Braun Breaker is out with injury. I'm telling you, if he loses this match, we're going to do a 5-month recap of Braun Breaker's 2026. Starting off with coming out being Zach's pick to win the Royal Rumble, which I have not forgotten about, and eliminated how quickly?
Less than 10 seconds, if I recall.
Yep.
Certainly less than 30. He was in and he was out, and I was like, what?
And it was second or third, right? It was right away.
And having to sit there and listen to people be like, well, they really think so highly of him. They really they love Braun Breaker. Yeah. You think they do that to an upcoming Brock Lesnar? You think they do that to an upcoming Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? You think they do that to an upcoming Hulk Hogan if they think he's a big star?
No.
Unless these people are idiots, which I can't rule out, but if these people are truly idiots, I don't know. We'll see with this match. I'm going to hold it again. All about the journey, Lee. Not happened yet. I'm a new man.
We have not got to Saturday yet.
No, we have not got to Saturday yet. Backlash. I'm in my moment of zen over here.
Is not for another 48 hours.
That's right. I'm just gonna enjoy the now. Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I'm just gonna. This is all part of a new Zach McGibbon.
Nice.
For at least 24 hours, and then we'll see what happens. The next day for Backlash, but they better have Braun Breaker win, because what is the point of Seth wins? And I don't want to hear about stories and it's like, oh, well, they got the story to tell. It doesn't matter. Do something with Braun Breaker. Do something.
Just said you're a new guy.
Sorry, you're right. You're right. They're gonna do something with Braun Breaker at Backlash. That's what I'm looking forward to it. New man Zach McGibbon. Looking forward to it.
Imagine if he loses, we're gonna recap.
We're
gonna recap the five months of Braun Breaker coming in. thinking maybe I could win the Royal Rumble. Like they might put me over and put me into the main event. Actually, we're going to eliminate you first.
Yes, you're going to be the first elimination, and not only that, it's going to be quick too. Like we're going to make sure you're out of there.
Right, you're not going to get an offensive move in, and you're out.
Yeah,
and then you're going to unfortunately get appendicitis.
Yes,
that's what he had, right? And his appendix removed. Did he not?
I thought it was something else.
Okay,
I don't remember it being appendicitis. I know he got some sort of injury, but
I thought it was severe appendicitis, and he had to have his appendix.
It was a hernia injury.
It was a
hernia. Right. Yes, I might get a hernia injury too if Braun Breaker loses on Saturday.
So then he gets a hernia.
Yep.
And they need to do an operation on him, so he's out.
Yep.
But then he's recovered in time for WrestleMania. But then they're not going to use him, and then they're gonna bring him in on this. Oh my God! Can you believe that Braun Breaker snuck out and then ran 1,000,000 miles and hit a spear at WrestleMania? But we're not going to use you at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
we're just gonna use you for a spear, and that's it.
Correct.
And then if he loses to Seth Rollins at Backlash the next month, like I can't even.
I'm gonna come on here, and new Zach will have been dead for. It would have lasted 48 hours at that point. Like right. But we'll see. I'm trying not to react to stuff, even though like I've seen this 1,000 times in pro wrestling, and people get mad and they're like, Zach, you gotta like do this. I'm like, I've seen this multiple times. What? I've seen this multiple times, but maybe it's a new time. Maybe it's different.
It is a new day. Yeah.
It's a new day. Yes.
A new day in AEW. That's for sure.
For sure. Yes, it is.
Oh, boy.
So Braun better win. Braun better win.
I actually kind of want him to lose just to recap his last 5 months. Like to go into detail about the Royal Rumble, him having a hernia, him being cleared but not being used at WrestleMania, and then having to lie down at Backlash a month later.
And then as you explain it, my face gets more red as you explain it. Yes.
This is our breakout star. This is how we're going to treat him at the beginning of 2026.
This is the future of WWE. This is how we're going to treat him.
All that said, I think he's going to win. So
it might not. It might be for no. I might come on Saturday or Sunday, whenever we're recording, and we'll be. I'll still be in my moment of zen. Maybe the new and improved, like the chakras are aligned and whatnot. So
the last time we did a live Sunday morning show, you were not all that happy with what had happened the night before.
Yes, that's right. I was pretty annoyed. It was pretty bad. To the point it annoyed one of the people and not happy with my review. It's like, how can you be happy with that show? Like, how can you sit there and be like, yep, I consumed a pro wrestling show that I liked, but nonetheless.
It's just weird that it's getting into, I don't want to say all of our brains, but what I brought up at the beginning, like the person you're talking to is he's a great human being, and he loves WWE. But sometimes, just no matter if it's wrestling or if it's hockey, if it's whatever, like another good friend text and say he didn't like the announcers, and I'm like, well, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? Like, and the answer was, well, can't they just say something nice? I'm like, that's not their job.
No.
But it's infiltrated into like a lot of our fandoms that we just want to be surrounded by this positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And heaven forbid somebody say something negative about it.
Yep.
Well, we don't like those people anymore. And it doesn't last, but it's sort of infiltrating into all of us. It's because we're getting used to that's the way that things are being broadcast. That's the way that things are being put out there. And so I just want to stand up and say, I don't like it, Zach. But now we're at the pay-per-view portion because those are the free matches on ESPN. So let me just get this straight. That 2 of the 3 matches on the pay-per-view. So once you get past that, now we've seen how great we are. You better pay for the rest of this show.
Yep.
Kit Wilson's music hits. The Miz. Who I like The Miz. And then Danhausen's going to come out with a mystery partner. I know we kind of talked about it before, but if you change your mind, any thoughts as to who the mystery partner could be? We'll get to Jacob Fatu on the phone. Like,
Yes.
so get to the masked wrestler at some point.
Yes.
So Danhausen and mystery partner against The Miz and Kit Wilson. This will be a spoiler, not a prediction. Even you can't screw this one up, Zach. That's how confident I am in what you're going to. It's a spoiler, not a prediction, that you're going to get this right.
Jeez, that's a lot of pressure on me, Lee. Especially because, as you know, I'm just a master of predictions.
But even you, I'm giving you a softball here, a lob ball, so that you're going to hit this one out of the park. You're going to get back on track. You're a new man. You're a new man.
Yeah, that's
right. You cannot, Zach. We need to start off on the right foot as you've turned the page. Right. You become a new person. You cannot screw this one up. It's not even possible for you to screw this one up. Who are you picking, Zach? Like, not as the mystery partner, but just who's going to win the match?
Yes. Well, as a new man, Lee, and as somebody that has taken on a new light because that's really the only way to consume these shows right now, is I'm going to say it's Danhausen and the mystery person that's going to win. That is my pick.
I'm telling you, it will pop me like off the couch, fist pumping, yelling, if Kit Wilson gets the pin on the mystery partner. And Miz and Kit Wilson win the match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually need them to book it this way. I need this to be a fairly like decent mystery partner.
Yep.
And then I need Danhausen to like accidentally curse them. And then Kit Wilson's going to get the pin and then run out. I need that to happen.
Lee, I'm a new man, so I'm just going to let it slide. I'm just going to let that one be. You know, here's the thing. You got to sometimes I've been accused of caring a little too much about pro wrestling, which I don't think is a bad thing.
Nope.
But you know, you take on this new, it's like, you know what? We got to dial it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my chakras are aligned here, Lee. I'm feeling very good.
Excellent.
So I'm going to pick Danhausen and mystery partner, but if they lose, I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm really not, because at the end of the day, who could possibly care who wins or loses this match?
I do.
I know you will.
I will. I need the Miz. He came to play. He's getting the victory.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I need that to happen.
I know it'd be good for you, Lee, but look, I'm just gonna look at this like, well, he lost. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, oh, this mystery person that came out. I'm just I don't even know who this mystery person could be. If it could be anybody at this point. Could be Sting, could be John Cena, it could be CM Punk.
Like Sting, who we'll get to, appeared in the first segment of the AEW memorial to the late Ted Turner.
Yep.
But Sting's going to appear as the mystery partner.
Well, yes, the money talks, Lee, and so that's what's going to happen. I don't know. Like, it could be anybody. I truly don't know who this mystery partner will be. I'm not going to lie to you, Lee. I'm really not looking forward to who it's going to be. I have a lot of concerns with this match. I really do. I'm worried where it's going to go. I'm worried about the magic that might be incorporated in the match. I'm worried. I will do my best to be entertained. I will sit back and turn my brain off, and I will consume the content and like they want me to, and then I will take in whatever sort of comedy will be over on my television screen. But I am a little worried about where they're going to go with this.
All right, let me throw out some names. It's hard. Like, they have to make it CM Punk. I think they need to start off the pay-per-view and have a big name come out.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk was one of the ones, or the one that brought Danhausen in the first place. CM Punk could have fun on screen with him. I want to say it makes sense because nothing they do makes a lot of sense, but it does make sense for it to be CM Punk and him having a bit more of a fun role after being such a serious champion and losing the championship. He can come in, he can win a match, he can have some fun with his buddy. He's not going to look bad. I can't see how it would be anybody but him, but I will throw out some other suggestions for you.
Okay.
All right. Joe Hendry.
I mean, sorry. Let me just. That's an interesting suggestion there, Lee.
Thank you.
It's.
I appreciate you taking my question seriously, and as the new man that you are.
It's something that I never thought of, and that is certainly a possibility for the WWE that they could do. So you know what? I am open to the idea of it being Joe Hendry, and maybe they will do a sing a song. Maybe they'll do a dance. I cannot wait for that at Backlash.
Okay, good.
So what a tremendous suggestion.
I'm gonna hit you with a couple that I think have the possibility of also falling into I guess a certain category.
Okay, just hit me. I'm a new man, so this is the perfect time to introduce
Mr. Iguana.
Well, if they wanted him to be on WWE mainstream TV, that's certainly the way they could do it. Maybe they'll have an interaction with the puppet,
right?
And I will consume that content Saturday for sure. So, Mr. Iguana, sure, absolutely. That's certainly another fine suggestion there, Lee. Okay. Another great suggestion on who could be the mystery partner for Danhausen.
All right, that's good. I actually think that could be what
I can't rule it out.
What they think would be funny.
Yep, great comedy. He's gonna curse the puppet, Lee. Maybe that's something that's gonna happen, and right. I will have a.
And what if they lose and then they're in a feud after because he's cursed the puppet?
Yes, Danhausen could be in a feud with the puppet. That sounds like a great idea. That sounds awesome.
As opposed to let's get him into a feud with Kit Wilson, like that.
Look, I'm stuck between it's a rock and a hard place scenario here, Lee. But
all right,
we're here for the entertainment.
Okay, Jelly Roll.
You know, out of those last two options, it's not the worst one. Sure, why not? Maybe he curses Jelly Roll's guitar, and the guitar hits over the head of the Miz or Kit Wilson. Maybe that's what they want to do. Maybe Jelly Roll does a big splash onto the Miz. You got a big star there, and then you can write off Jelly Roll.
Okay. Can't forget your boy, L.A. Knight. Yeah.
That one I could tolerate. That one I could be like, okay, sure, that's a name you could do. I think it'd be a boring pick for the WWE fan.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, as you've given these options, it's gotten a little bit better. Like I was sitting there, like,
well,
who else is he going to throw at me?
Okay, I got one more kind of out there, that a name that we've heard, but like an out there part of it to get this person into the WWE, because we've heard that they might. Stephen A. Smith.
Okay. Maybe he could be Danhausen's manager.
Listen, if they announce the draft, with John Cena, and Stephen A. Smith is there, he could be a part of both.
He could.
Yay, nay.
Oh, I don't know about yay, Lee, but it will certainly be.
Okay. One more, and I actually think that this is the best suggestion. This would be my other pick.
Okay.
if CM Punk was not the right answer, that this would be my pick. Obafemi.
Okay, you know what? I see the vision, not Seth Rollins' vision. I mean the vision that you are pointing out. I can see where you're going with that. I hope he comes in there and he power bombs Kit Wilson and The Miz. They win their match, and then he looks at Danhausen and power bombs him too, because why not? Like that's not going to happen. But I would absolutely love it.
Danhausen might not even be mad.
Yeah.
Oh, he won me the match. It was only $400 human dollars, and I got power bombed. Like,
yes, yeah, I got human monies out of this. Yes, I could absolutely see that. So you know what? I see the vision with Obafemi. I understand it.
The only reason I'm bringing him up is because if he is your next big star, he's just beaten Brock Lesnar. He's doing open challenges. I think you just got to continue to put him on the card. Like, you need him out there in a monster spot. Like, to be a monster, put him out there in a monster spot, and him coming out getting, like, you could see Danhausen doing the Obafemi dance, walk. They do the whole big thing. Danhausen, like, Obafemi's going to start, and Danhausen tags himself in and, like, runs around, but then actually thinks he might get beat up. So then he goes back and tags him again, and then they run away. And then Danhausen wants back in, so he tags in again. And, like, they could do something like that until Obafemi's like, yeah, I'm going to put an end to all this.
Yes.
And he just puts an end to everything.
We need you in that creative room, bringing this idea to the agents.
Listen, it might not be the greatest idea, but what I'm talking about is, if he is your biggest star and he's just beaten Brock Lesnar, continue to put him out so people can see him. And if you're going to put him out at the beginning of the pay-per-view, that's the spot. He'd come out, he's going to crush some people. They can do a little bit of comedy, but they still know he's the monster. He can just destroy everyone. He gets the crowd popped at the beginning of the second half of the real show, the pay-per-view part of it. And he's your big star. Promote him as your big star.
Mm-hmm. And there's a general, like, oh, this guy's here. Like, he's gonna, wreck some stuff out there.
Yeah,
I like it.
Kill these guys.
I like that idea a lot, actually. I quite like that idea. They won't do it because they're gonna bring their fine WWE comedy. I just know, like, when Mr. Iguana shows up, I am just gonna be, on the edge of my seat.
I couldn't hit you with Obafemi first and then go to Mr. Iguana.
No, well done on plopping Joe Hendry and then Mr. Iguana, because it was a real, like, you could see it on the screen where I'm like, oh my God, what have I done to get to this point of analysis where we're trying to break down who this person, but we got back. I could see the others. LA Knight would be just kind of a boring pick.
Yeah, you're right. I was kind of mid with him. Yeah.
Yeah. I got the vision of why you would say him. I just, Obafemi, I'm in.
It's still the beginning. They're going to start the actual pay-per-view show with this match. So you want to be able to pop the crowd and pop people at the beginning of it.
Yep.
Because it's almost the beginning of the real show, the second half of the show.
Yep.
So it's got to be somebody that is going to pop the crowd. So the only reason I don't like LA Knight anyway, but the only reason I put him in there is because, can he pop the crowd at the very beginning? Yeah.
Yeah.
Io Sky and Asuka. I'm no selling your.
I know you are.
LA Knight. Like,
that's
I don't have time for it. Like,
that's okay. Where there's more bits to come with people returning. So get fired up.
Oh, what have I done to get here? Yeah. Io Sky and Asuka in a match where no, like, women's titles champions are on the card. But then there's this match, which probably should be a pretty good match. There's no real stakes. Do you care enough about the story, or is this just two decent wrestlers wrestling?
That's enough for me. Two decent wrestlers wrestling. Do you buy into any of the speculation that Kairi Sane will show up to make an appearance to finish off her storyline in WWE? Which, if there's anything that TKO will prioritize, it's these storylines that they have on TV. So
Is Kari Sane, like, I really like Kari Sane. I think I was probably the one, or that was one of the people I was, well, that's too bad. Like, I like to see her when she's out there.
yep.
So, but is she a big enough name to come back at the end of this match? And people are like, oh my God, Kari Sane is back, finishing off her story.
Yeah.
Does TKO even know who Kari Sane is?
I highly doubt it. I don't think Ari Emanuel is looking in that spreadsheet be like, oh, Kairi Sane, we got to keep her around. Like, I highly doubt that. Yeah, I mean, there have been the "We Want Kyrie" chants or whatever, not to the same extent of the "We Want Our Truth" chants, but because of the precedent that they set with our truth, bringing him back.
Yeah, that's true.
WWE fans have felt emboldened, like, oh, we chant loud enough, they're gonna bring back our favorites. So they've been trying to do that with Kyrie. Didn't work with your boy Karrion Kross, unfortunately.
I know, it did not, no.
Which I know you're still distraught about, but it's nonetheless, I don't think it's gonna work for Kairi Sane here. Yeah, I think they'll go out there, they'll have a good match. I'm interested to see. There is a part of me that's like, I don't think this is the same Asuka that was at her peak a few years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is on her decline, Asuka. I think Io Sky, in the past I wasn't as high on Io Sky as others were, but like last couple of years, like, man, she's looked really, really good.
Yeah.
So I am a little bit higher on that. So I think this will be a decent match. I'm interested. I'm interested to see where it goes.
You can give me a winner.
The fans. I'm gonna say, let's because Io Sky is the bigger star. I'll go with Io Sky.
Yeah, I mean, if Kairi Sane does come back, Io Sky's gonna win.
Could you imagine it like in all this? It's like they do a run in this, and it's Kairi Sane, and it's like a big run in, and I'm like, oh, wonderful. I'm glad they do a run in here.
Yeah,
I get it, but it's also like, really.
I'm gonna pick Kairi Sane as well. So now
Kairi Sane. You mean Io Sky?
Oh, Io Sky.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, that's a big prediction there, Lee. Not even in the match.
Triple threat.
Triple threats, yes.
Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu for the World Heavyweight Championship. Who is Jacob Fatu on the phone with? I saw some ridiculous quote from Paul Heyman saying that Jacob Fatu could never be trusted in that position of being the champion because you could never, you never know what he's going to do, and like trying to put over that he possibly could win. We got the Roman Reigns not coming in June stuff that people have been talking about, adding to could Jacob Fatu possibly win the world title? I can tell you that they might. I don't know if they would do it. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think Roman would put up with them doing it. It would also be a massive mistake. They just made that title. They just made it somewhat relevant with Roman Reigns winning it. The dumbest thing you could do is take it away. And I like Jacob Fatu, but like you cannot take it away from Roman this quickly and feel like that title is going to be continually relevant. Unless the goal is to make it not relevant and put it back on Cody as the most relevant champion. Didn't mention Cody Rhodes as the Danhausen partner, by the way. Just saying.
I mean, I guess it's better than Mr. Iguana, but
yeah,
or Joe Hendry, but I don't see that happening with Cody.
Could be Naraku.
That's right. My boy Naraku. Now I have to refer to him.
Evil.
Came out and gave a sword, Lee. He gave a sword to.
Yeah. Anyway,
he walked out.
I'm picking Roman Reigns. I think it'll be a decent match. There'll be some run-ins. There'll be some shenanigans. It might keep Jacob in the picture. but I cannot see Jacob Fatu walking out of Backlash with the World Heavyweight Championship.
I don't either, but I will say this. If Jacob Fatu does win the World Heavyweight Championship this Saturday and takes it off Roman Reigns, I do think we have a story on our hands with everything that's been going on with the releases and people being asked to take 50% pay cuts. And, I still get a laugh out of the reason why the June dates were removed. It was a clerical error, Lee. It was, they just did not read that contract correctly. Oh, whoops. Even though the guy went out on TV and said, I'm here for the summer, this is a clerical error. Ooh, happens to the best of us, especially multi-billion-dollar companies and their top stars.
With their top star, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to say Roman retains, but I will say if Jacob wins, I think there is a big story that's kind of brewing here that's not being told when it comes to Roman Reigns and how he's kind of viewed at with TKO, because that man is on a part-time contract. And if TKO is trying to slash and find funds, they might look at that part-time contract and look at Roman and say, is this really worth it? Is this really worth having this guy get paid all that money for limited dates?
But would they have put the title on him at WrestleMania? Like if that were the case?
You never know. Would they have had Pat McAfee go out there and bury the company and saying that they can't sell tickets and then
write him off TV?
And then the company sucks and all that? Like, you can't really rule out a lot of things in this company right now.
There's nothing you can.
It just feels so like not in a good way unpredictable. You know how you have like some runs where it's like, okay, this is kind of unpredictable, but like I'm interested to see where it goes. This is more of the unpredictable of like, this thing could make everything go wrong, unpredictable. So
right,
not a good feeling to have in the company right now.
No, it's hard to believe that. I don't know. There's a real negative feeling around it. But Backlash Saturday night coming up from Tampa, Florida. All right. Let's move on, Zach. Let's move on, first of all, to the way they started Dynamite on Wednesday night, and Ted Turner, so influential as the head of the Turner Broadcasting Network, TNT, TBS, part of CNN and everything he did down in Atlanta. And I don't disagree with a lot of people saying, like, I don't know where exactly we would be with anything else going on. Like, I'm sure somebody would have tried, and we've seen other people try, but without Ted Turner, without, WCW and the way that he treated people and got stars to come in and wanted to compete with Vince McMahon, I don't know that we'd have AEW. I don't know that we'd have other things to like legitimately talk about going up against the WWE. I don't. So, let's just start with, Ted Turner's influence on the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's vast. I mean, a lot of people that kind of listen into this show will probably talk about the Monday Night Wars, and obviously that's a big time boom period in pro wrestling. Don't need me to say that. But his influence over pro wrestling is much further than just the Monday Night Wars. We're going all the way back to the early 70s when he buys the television station in Atlanta, fledgling television station, and he puts pro wrestling on there. And the famous three that he talks about with, building the Turner Empire was old episodes of the Andy Griffith Show, Atlanta Braves baseball, and pro wrestling. And he was one of the people that you'll hear from the WWE history folks that, WWE was the first to really bring things national and bring their product to everywhere around the United States. But really, Turner and his Superstation airing Georgia Championship Wrestling was the one that technically brought it to a national stage. It was obviously a different kind of look because you got the studio wrestling show that's happening in this Atlanta, station. But the the seeds were already planted for national expansion and wrestling promotions being viewed nationally, well before that with the WWE. And so he was somebody that he had the wrestling go on. I could go in depth about, there was two competing Atlanta promotions, competing Georgia promotions, and they were fighting against each other. And Ted could have picked a side and said, all right, I'm going to pick this promotion. But he's like, nope, I'm going to take them both. And they're both going to be on my television station. And it's going to be back to back. And then one of the promotions died out and then stayed with Georgia Championship Wrestling. Could talk about Black Saturday in 1984, 85, where Vince McMahon, as he's doing his national expansion, he's buying all these time slots. He comes in and buys the time slot off of Turner. But the reaction from the fans that are watching that programming from Vince, that was not the programming that they were accustomed to. And so eventually it leads to Vince selling off that time slot for $1 million back. Ole Anderson puts together Championship Wrestling from Georgia, and that lasts a little bit longer. And Turner has always been somebody that kept pro wrestling on the stations. And even when it turned into Jim Crockett, and he had Jim Crockett on the station, Mid-South was on there for a bit. But then once Jim Crockett was starting to die out, because it was just getting expensive to try and tour around and Jim Crockett couldn't do it, Ted Turner sweeps in and says, look, I'm going to buy this company. I'm going to turn it into WCW. And there's a famous quote in like 92. He goes, sees the WCW wrestlers in the locker room. And he says, look, as long as I'm here, as long as I'm the one making the decisions, you guys have a place on the Turner networks, despite the executives like wanting to move it. And, you'll hear a lot about, the executives, they wanted to move it because they hate pro wrestling. But it was also because it wasn't making any money. Like those first couple of years of WCW, they didn't turn a profit till late 95, early 96, when Bischoff comes in and he's able to bring the TV tapings to Walt Disney and have them be at Disney World. So, but he stuck by it. He said that pro wrestling helped get him on to the national sphere because he understood with pro wrestling there was an audience there, and he wanted an audience to keep coming back to his station. And he felt like with what pro wrestling did for him, same with the Atlanta Braves and same with, old episodes of the Andy Griffith Show turning as well. I know it wasn't a classic movie, but you have the Turner classic movies as well. He felt like he had a loyalty to it and said, look, they helped bring me to the dance. They're going to have some sort of slot no matter what. And then obviously, you have the Monday Night Wars after that in 95, where it's like, from what I read, apparently there was some sort of an offer to try and buy WCW. The executives were like, finally, we can get this company that's losing money off of the books and we can move on from this. And Ted, instead of looking at the offer and selling it off, he says, well, why don't we put these guys on prime time? Like, how can we compete with Vince McMahon? Right. And then you have the famous meeting with Eric Bischoff, where Bischoff's like, well, we need Monday nights. We need 2 hours prime time. He's like, all right, order it prime time. But if you read the Nitro book, apparently that decision was already kind of in the motion like a month before, before that famous meeting, after some discussions with some executives. So it's interesting how it's kind of unfolded. Then WCW gets big, obviously, and the Time Warner merger happens and Ted essentially gets kicked out and he loses his power. And that gives the executives the free will to say, okay, like this company is losing a lot of money. And boy, did they lose a lot of money in 2000, and gave them all the more reason to say, you know what, these guys, they shouldn't be on the station. And up until 2001, like they were a competitor to WWE, WWF, and prevented any sort of monopoly with Vince McMahon, what he was trying to expand, and it delayed that inevitable all the way till 2001. So I think you look back, and I think there's been a lot of kind of analyzing, because for a lot of people, Ted Turner was somebody that, he was just the money guy. He didn't really care about the pro wrestling. He just he liked it. He'll put money towards it to keep it on the air. But when you really dive into the history and how much of an influence he was on the pro wrestling scene, I think people are kind of taking another look and saying, you know what, he was way more, like, other than Vince, he's probably the most influential person in pro wrestling, right? In terms of being able to have somebody, a promotion go national, keep it on his networks, and the loyalty to it, even when it was losing money. So, and all of that I've explained with Ted Turner, that's just a footnote in that guy's life of what he was able to do.
Right.
You read these obits, there's nothing about there's barely anything. They're like, oh, he owned a wrestling promotion while he was also head of Turner, right? Like it's a footnote. Like that just goes to show just how influential this guy was when he was around. Obviously, the creation of CNN changed how news. I work in the news field. It changed how news was consumed. Obviously, the Gulf War did a lot for CNN as well, was covering it live when it was happening. And
OJ, for sure. Yeah.
OJ, yeah, absolutely. And then you owning the Atlanta Braves and Braves having those big teams in the 90s, eventually winning a World Series in 95 and owning all those Atlanta sports teams in general. Turner owned the Thrashers at one point. Like he was somebody that did a lot. And then you look at the humanitarian stuff that he did on the side. Like you look at it and it's hilarious. It really, for me as a wrestling fan, you kind of realize how much of a bubble we are in because we think he did all this stuff and that's such a big thing that you look at. But then you look in the bigger picture with him. It is quite amazing with Ted. Like that's just a footnote. And I think it's also why, as I know I've been rambling on a little bit, but you look at the comparison with Vince McMahon and how Vince, he had Ted Turner as like a mortal enemy. Like he did not, the billionaire Ted skits, right? Every week it's like a new thing, the Nacho Man and the Huckster, right? And just going after Ted Turner is like, oh, he's a dumb Southerner, but also he's an evil genius. It was very weird how they were trying to put that up on their skits. But it's funny because like with Ted Turner, that was just a footnote. He wanted to own a pro wrestling promotion because that was fun for him. He's like, they helped me and I feel a little bit of a debt of gratitude for them, so I'll keep them on. Vince, that was his life, but he wanted to do stuff outside of pro wrestling, whether it be a football league, whether it be, you got the football league, you got the bodybuilding federation. Like he wanted to do all these things outside, but he could never find that success outside. But it was always pro wrestling. While with Turner, it was the opposite. It was like, oh, I've got all this success outside, but I got this pro wrestling that I'm looking over and I'll keep it alive. And I think to the core, I think that kind of nubs at Vince and why he was such a mortal enemy because, I think you look back at those skits and you're like, man, this guy just did not let Ted Turner at all. Then you find an old clip of Ted Turner reacting to those old skits. He's like, this is pretty funny. I'm glad that those guys are doing it. And then moving on with his day because he's Ted Turner. He's got better things to do than worry Vince McMahon writing skits about him on TV.
And all of that is very, very well said about Ted Turner. So I'm glad you went into some sort of detail there. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Vince McMahon hated Ted Turner because Ted Turner, I'm sure, had to make some tough decisions and wasn't necessarily like, all people at the top have to make tough decisions and they're not liked by some people. But for the most part, Ted Turner was a good human being, right? Like, and Vince McMahon was not. So Vince McMahon hated Ted Turner because Ted Turner had as much money and was competing with him and was an actual good human being. And it rubbed Vince the wrong way. That's exactly why.
Yep. He was the opposite of everything that Vince was.
Right.
The absolute opposite.
And it's so well put about, like, we're talking about not 1% of what Ted Turner was doing, but you listed off all of the things. Like, he is so influential. Other than Vince, you're right. Probably the second most influential person ever in the history of pro wrestling. And it was less than 1% of what he was doing with his day-to-day life.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
This guy donated $1 billion to the United Nations.
$1 billion.
Like, $1 billion to the United Nations.
And when was that? Like,
this is like 2000s, I want to say. This is before he had the Lewy body dementia and like.
No, but what I'm saying is $1 billion back then is like $5 billion now.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of money. Yes.
Right?
Yeah. He bought a whole bunch of. He was the biggest landowner in the United States, but he did it so that he could preserve the bison population. Right. Because he wanted the bison to come back, and all the nature stuff that he like all this stuff. You're talking about politically here. I'll do my best to kind of limit it, but with all the stuff that's kind of gone on in the world and how people feel about billionaires, like if there is ever the definition of like a good enough billionaire using what they had
Right.
for good, he's probably the closest one,
Mm.
quite frankly. So when you really look at it now, again, you could write a whole book about Ted Turner and all the stuff he did, and you don't even have to mention WCW, and you could be like, wow, this guy accomplished a lot. So it's just, it really is kind of fascinating when you look at it. And again, it's funny to see, like, I remember seeing those ads, but it's always funny just to pop up the ads is like, is this man trying to like ruin your TV or something like that? I'm trying to remember what the ad was, but it was like a picture of Ted. It was like bought by Vince, and he would always try and cry like, oh, I'm a family run business. He's trying to run me out of town. Like try to play victim in a lot of this. And I'm like, you also made a lot of money. Like you're not some mom and pop, So anyways, it was just fascinating to go back and look into the career of Ted Turner. It's from a wrestling perspective and just see like what he was able to do, like keep that company alive, and even still feeling it today, as you mentioned, with that, opening shot of Dynamite yesterday, where they had the big like there's he established the wrestling history there, and like AEW is probably not existing and getting onto those stations if there isn't that wrestling background that Tony 100%. Khan brought up to Kevin Riley. So
AEW is not on TBS and TNT if WCW did not exist.
Yep.
No way. So yes, Tony Khan, I'm sure, is doing things his own way, but the blueprint of how to do it and the respect that Tony Khan has had for the way that Ted Turner did it and some of the history with TNT and TBS and their stations and the championships and everything else. Like there's a blueprint there. And like Tony Khan is very young, but Tony Khan is going to be a guy that has started off already. We talk about him that he's too nice in this world of pro wrestling. And sometimes his company got away from him because he was too nice and, had things happen, but he's on the path to, be talked about somewhat in a similar fashion that Ted Turner, probably because he looked up to Ted Turner. Like that's, we're just so grateful to me that, Ted Turner was able to push back, especially finding out the person that Vince McMahon, I'm going to say like everybody thought that he was, but he had a pretty good idea that he wasn't the best person. But now that, it's all come to light that he's not, for Ted Turner to be able to push back against that guy, I'm sure a lot of things that we all don't know that happened in those wars.
Yep.
I think, grateful for the contributions that he made. Like that's a guy that made a hell of a lot of contributions, not only in the wrestling world, but in the world.
Yeah. Period.
Like, and just how many people he affected and how much, as you said, land he had and how many jobs he created. Like just think about the amount of jobs that guy created himself.
Yep. He created a group to try and dismantle nuclear weapons across the world. He co-created Captain Planet. Like, you just read through the obit, right? And you're just like, holy jeez. Like the stuff that this guy was able to do. So I can only imagine why it would stick in the craw of Vince McMahon for so long.
Yeah. Richard is in, says, oh, dumbass watch not giving me the live notification.
Oh.
And then he says, I know he meant loving the new background, not living it. He's probably living it like we are. Like, bam, it's in your face. But I think he meant loving it.
Yes.
Now, Richard, don't be so hard on yourself and your watch. I mean, it's nice that we've designed the world to get smaller and smaller and smaller to create things that are more important. Like we went from, a TV to a computer to a phone to a watch, because that's how we're going to get all of our information now. But in the future, Richard, this will be on us because right now we're still in the stage of we don't exactly know when we're going live. And we're not going to tell you all the time, but in the future, there will be at least somewhat of a set schedule on, like, maybe we'll throw in a random live show just because we feel like it. But there will be a schedule, like whether it's Monday nights or whatever it's going to be, that you will know when we're going to be live. That's still in the workings here with sort of OSN and This Is Wrestling, but that's not your fault. Don't take it, Richard, like it's your fault. Okay? It's
right.
clearly Zach's fault.
Well, hold on. Well, let's hold the phone there, brother.
Clearly Zach's fault. We are going to get to AEW, but I do want to get to this piece of news as well. Not this one. TKO for president from Kevin. The news that the new season of Dark Side of the Ring has been announced. And, previously I've at least caught this news enough that you didn't know who it was going to be. So we kind of played, a game and I got to announce it, but the people that are going to be on. So Dark Side of the Ring, I happen to really like the show.
Me too.
I think they go into, fairly good detail and are unbiased. I mean, as much as they possibly can be.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you everything, but they seem to tell you on these shows more than some of the other biographies or autobiographies or things. So, Tuesday, July 7th seems to be the season premiere of Dark Side of the Ring. And it's going to start, Zach, with not one, not two, but a 3-part special on TNA Wrestling and Jeff Double J AR double RE double T Jeff Jarrett.
That's right.
I'm interested. The fact that they're doing 3 parts, there's a lot of things going on in the, like what TNA Wrestling was and the fall of TNA and how Jeff Jarrett was involved. And, Jeff Jarrett has been synonymous with pro wrestling for a long time and his family. So I'm looking forward to this because them doing 3 parts tells me that they're going to dive into this a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting when I saw that they were doing a 3-parter on Jeff Jarrett and TNA Wrestling. When you really look into the story of the promotion, it's just chaos. From the very first show, there was concerns that it wasn't going to be able to air live because of some sort of technical issue. It really set the tone for TNA for the rest of its run, really from that first show. But if they're including Jeff Jarrett, I imagine there was a lot of talk that, it was not just Jeff Jarrett, obviously, that ran TNA. It was also Jerry Jarrett that also started TNA.
Right.
And Jerry was somebody, like when WCW was for sale, as we were talking about Ted Turner earlier, he was somebody that was lurking in and trying to buy the promotion too, and was like, oh, I can utilize the time slots on Turner, and I've got many years in the business. But he ends up creating TNA with his son and Jeff. And if you read into that story, for the longest time, that promotion, the dealings with the promotion, and it's one of the things that when you go into business with family, it can be very risky because things could go wrong and then you'd really test and strain the relationship. And there was a time where Jeff and Jerry were not talking to each other because of everything that was going on in TNA. And so I imagine there's a little bit of discussion about that. That'll be coming up as well. Unfortunately, obviously, Jerry Jarrett has passed away, so we won't really get too much of that point of view. But there's a lot to talk about when it comes to TNA of their rise. And, you could talk about bringing in Vince Russo as Booker, right? And the weekly pay-per-views that they were doing and how that was going to be their model, and then getting on to Spike. And it's funny, the different ways that it seemed like it was going to fail, but they found a way to kind of keep on moving forward and find success. And being able to get guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe in the promotion, the X Division, and Christopher Daniels being involved as well, and really trying to elevate TNA. Fascinated to see how they go into this. And I wonder how TNA, the current modern day iteration of it, is going to feel with this documentary coming out.
Yeah, I'm just excited because I think it's a great topic, but one episode wouldn't have been enough. Like they just wouldn't have been able to get into it. So the fact that they've dedicated 3 towards it tells me that, hopefully they're going to dive into it. And that's great because it's probably even more than a 3-show recap of what happened, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so that's the way it's going to start. And then in no particular order, or maybe it's in order, I'm not sure.
We'll see.
Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff will be the next one. And, even watching, and we're going to do a separate episode or two on the Hulk Hogan documentary on Netflix.
Yep.
Which we will get to very soon as well on This Is Wrestling. But I actually like the fact that on the Hogan documentary, they showed a bunch of stuff, or at least, shots from the big event. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff against Hulk Hogan in the main event, 1986 Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. I was there.
Yes.
For that.
In attendance.
And I'm sure you can look it up, but it's like 60,000 people. Yep. Like it was. I don't have that many memories from it, unfortunately. Like I just don't. I remember being in the sea of people. I remember being disappointed. I remember being disappointed about how far back we were from where the ring was.
Yep.
But that's because there were so many people there, and I didn't quite understand. It would have been 10 or 11. And I just was so excited for it. Like as a new wrestling fan that was so into wrestling that I couldn't see as much as I wanted to. Like that's what I remember. But I do remember having it on like VHS afterwards and thought it was so cool that I was there and I could pop it into the VHS machine and watch it. And man, Hogan and Orndorff with 60,000 people in the middle of Exhibition Stadium, and the place was rocking. When you go back and watch it, the place was rocking. Like, and from that, Paul Orndorff, I kind of started as a wrestling fan with, him being with Hogan, and then the big turn, Paul Orndorff. That's when I didn't quite understand. I'm watching wrestling, but you're still trying to understand, like, but it's his friend. Like, why would he do that? Like, what is he doing? And, turning on Hogan and going with Bobby Heenan. And then, of course, all leading to WrestleMania 1 with Orndorff and Roddy Piper against Mr. T and Hulk Hogan. So that's where I start with Paul Orndorff. Yep. And unfortunately, the last thing that I remember about Paul Orndorff is laying in the middle of that WCW ring, taking, the pile driver and just laying there. And the match just going on, and he's literally laying there.
Yep.
And a whole lot in between. But Paul Orndorff will be a very interesting one for me.
Yeah, he seems to be somebody that doesn't get talked about as much in the history of WWE when it comes to the rise of it. They obviously talk about Hogan, they talk about Piper, they talk about Mr. T, but Paul Orndorff kind of gets left in the dust a little bit. He was just as important part of that build as all those other guys were. As you mentioned, seeing, him turn heel on Hulk Hogan at that time was a big deal, and aligning himself with Roddy Piper.
So, and even I think if you go into that, I think there was an idea that match was going to be Roddy Piper and Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yep.
But they wanted somebody bigger. They wanted to draw more heat. They wanted, and they needed somebody else to get that. And it was Orndorff that was going to turn on Hogan and be a part of this. And the crowd hated them. They needed somebody a little bit bigger than Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yep.
And it was Paul Orndorff, and they chose him, and probably the right decision. You're right. He doesn't get talked about the same way.
Really doesn't. And he was a good worker in his day too, especially in the WWF at that time. Like he's a very good worker. Obviously he had some injuries that like affected his career in the long run, as you mentioned. And his work starts to deteriorate even as he's going to WCW. I still love his WCW theme. Like just perfect amount of like silly and goofy for me. Like the over the top, they call him Mr. Wonderful. I can just see, it's so good. Like that's in the playlist of the rotation. But yeah, he was a very good worker in his time and kind of gets lost to wrestling history weirdly. And I wonder, I said this at the time during when the Wrestling Observer was having their Hall of Fame voting, and Orndorff was always that guy on the cusp. Is like,
Mhm.
was he a Hall of Fame guy? I'm like, man, I wonder, because you mentioned 60,000 people and it was headlined by Hogan and him. And that was one of the top drawing, like, the only thing really that exceeded it was that Andre match at WrestleMania 3 during
Yeah.
Hogan's run. I wonder if that show, instead of being called the big event, if it's called WrestleMania Toronto or something like that, where it gets more fondly remembered because that is like all these people are here. It's a big WrestleMania show, and Paul Orndorff's in the main event. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of look into that. If I recall correctly, there was a story like people thought he had died, but there's like, no, he's actually alive. He's okay.
Right.
It's that classic thing in pro wrestling at that time when you're not around and people assume you just died because you don't get booked anymore. So I think that
Right.
happened to Orndorff as well. But yeah, he's a very good wrestler in his prime. It's just unfortunate that injuries kind of slowed him down in the end. But I really enjoyed Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Some of those old skits of him like in the gym trying to get the people in shape and just him insulting them is just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Hilarious.
Like great old school wrestling. So I'm very interested to see how they do in this Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Yeah, I've been looking it up, and they say the paid attendance was 61,470, but there are reports that it was anywhere up to 74,000 people.
Yeah.
And with the way that Exhibition Stadium ran too, um, and for those that were in Toronto back in the 80s, you'd go to Blue Jay games, and the fence would actually come around like on the football field, and the one side of the stands would just sort of go away from the stadium. Like behind the fence, it would just continue to keep going and going, and they would sell tickets for the big playoff games. They just keep selling them because they literally they could sell 30,000 more if they wanted to. They could have had like the biggest attendance ever, but as it kept going, the further and further and further away. Like I remember being out in those outfield seats, and it's literally like the stands are going away from the field. So the further you go down, just the further you are away from the field, and you just can't see anymore. But and that's probably why they don't know exactly how many, because I think people got into that. But crazy that happened in 1986. He's saying it was advertised as Hulkamania. They're going to have an event called Hulkamania. But yeah, Orndorff and him on top.
Yep.
So, and Richard says, oh my God, Dark Side is back. Amazing. Yeah. So we're just going through all the people that are going to be on it this year, Richard. And for everyone else listening. So TNA Wrestling, the kind of rise and fall with the story about Jeff Jarrett, specifically 3-part special. They're going to do Paul Orndorff. They're also going to do Ray Traylor, the Big Boss Man. It's another good one. Like he had that, that huge run in the WWF at the time, with against Hogan, and being a part of, I think some really big teams. Like, and then when he turned face, like people cheered for that guy. They loved him.
Yep.
From Cobb County, Georgia, Ray Traylor. So this one should be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Going back and watching old big boss man matches. I think he's an underrated big guy.
For sure he is.
Especially a guy for that agile at that time.
Yeah.
Love me a good boss man slam. Whenever somebody does it on the indies, I always call it a boss man slam because that's how I know it as.
Nice.
So, sometimes if it's a darker wrestler, I'll say black hole slam. But if it's, I always just call it the boss man slam because that's how it's done. Yeah, Ray Traylor's life. There's that great image a couple of years ago, and it's his daughter, I believe, sharing a photo of his grandson. He's holding the big boss man action figure, and this caption is he doesn't know it yet, but that's his grandfather that he's holding on to the action figure. This is like a young kid. Is like, oh man, like that is really cool. But yeah, I'm I'm interested to see what they do with that, with his career. A lot of positive stuff. He was Big Bubba Rogers in WCW as well. And,
Right.
came back to the WWF during the Attitude Era and had the feud with Big Show, and where he drove off with the coffin of Big Show's father. And it was like, yeah, that's the Attitude Era, all right.
Yep.
Vince Russo is absolutely in charge of this. So a lot to look back on, but I think people will look back on that late 80s, early 90s run from Cobb County, Georgia. Better read the sign, respect the law and order, or you'll serve hard times, as they say.
Twin Towers with Akeem.
Yes.
The African Dream. One of my favorite characters in the history of pro wrestling.
Him doing the dance.
Like,
is there with Slick.
Just look at what One Man Gang was before that.
Yep.
And then what he was after that. And it encapsulates what the WWE kind of thinks. We're just going to take someone and we're going to make something like literally the opposite.
Yeah. And I think it was also like a playoff, like it was supposed to be a playoff of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes as well. It kind of parodying it a little bit. So.
But yeah, I mean, he was involved in some big time matches against Hogan, right?
Yep.
So Missy Hyatt. That will be an interesting one.
Yeah, if you follow her on Twitter, she is interesting follow.
That will be an interesting one, Missy Hyatt.
Especially with with her marriage to Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I imagine there'll be a little bit talking about that. So
yeah, just gonna say, I mean, she was all over WCW television, right? And NWA television at the end as an announcer for a long time. I remember she came back after being an announcer for a while with Bischoff on like WCW in the early 90s. And then she came back as a manager and she was managing the Nasty Boys. I remember the Nasty Boys with Missy Hyatt beat Sting and the Bulldog at a Clash of Champions. I think that's her Bulldog. He had a couple of times where he hurt himself. And that was one of them. It wasn't the one, but
well, funny enough, we'll talk about the one with Bulldog a little bit later with one of the announcements. On the topics. So
yeah, exactly. The last one that we'll get to, but the Missy Hyatt then going to ECW and just traveled, which I think is fair.
Yep. Yes.
So that'll be interesting. Samoa Joe and Necro Butcher. And the match that they had
with IWA Mid-South Lee,
which I think some real stuff happened, Zach.
Oh yeah, people have to watch that match. It rocks.
Right.
I love that. That's part of Samoa Joe's incredible 2005. Like he had that match against Necro Butcher, and he also took on Kenta Kobashi in the same year. Like that is like he had an unreal run, of course, as well. He was ROH World Champion. So obviously Ben Soublier and Chris Holsky would talk a lot about that in terms of those runs. But yeah, you gotta like those matches. That match rocks between Butcher and Necro.
We're doing a whole show about it. So
yeah, I mean, like there's clearly some real like if you watch that match, they are hitting each other. It's like, oh jeez, like they are throwing bombs at each other. So it is a match that I hope that in the future that if there is going to be more Dark Side of the Ring episodes, that there's a couple more of these independent ones. Like you could do a whole one on Teddy Hart if you wanted to, and you could really learn a lot about him. Obviously the Samoa Joe one, if you wanted to, you could look at the heat between Eddie Kingston and Chris Hero, and how it evolved into a match breaking down in PWG. There's a lot you could do with the independents if you want. So interesting that they've got this match. But if you haven't already, once you're done listening to this podcast, of course, seek out that Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe match because it rocks.
Well, they're going to do a whole episode on it. Zach Gowen is another subject.
Yeah. This is the weakest one for me.
I agree.
Yeah. This is, I get it why they would put him in. Yeah, there is the funny story of how they hired the Ron one-legged wrestler. Like that's just inherently funny,
right?
That they called up the Ron guy and like, wait a minute, is he supposed to be bigger than this? And it's Zach Gowen is like 150 pounds soaking wet.
If that, yeah.
If that, like soaking wet. And he's coming in for this Brock Lesnar feud. So I mean, it's an interesting story in that it is a guy that's like trying to make it on his own, but
I'm distracted. You know the palatial estates?
Yes, of course.
Here, you look out. Well, there is a beautiful, beautiful fox that is just sitting right here. Right in front of me. And Zach, I know you were talking about the wrong Zach Gowen. I get it. I think sometimes the wrong Zach McGibbon's here, but it's a beautiful fox. He's kind of waving. He wants in on the show.
Making it run it.
Not AR Fox, who somehow showed up this week on Collision.
Hey, I like AR Fox, but it was surprising that he was there. I was like,
I don't mind him either, but it's like, we're just supposed to, he hasn't been around for a year, but then he's just on Collision? Like,
against Speedball?
Okay.
You would have told me that as somebody that watched 2015 PWG, that Speedball Mike Bailey and AR Fox would be on national television in the opening match on Turner. I'd be like, that's very funny. That's really, really funny. Like try and give me something more realistic here.
Right. So. Okay. So Zach Gowen, we don't need to go too much. And then the last one, certainly some intrigue, some tragedy as well. The Renegade, Rick Wilson, but the Renegade, trying to make another Ultimate Warrior. Like you could possibly make another Ultimate Warrior, but they tried.
Yeah. I mean, it was just straight up, when you look back at those segments, it was just straight up blatant false advertising. He's like, the Ultimate One is here. And it's like, you look at it as like, wow, it looks like Ultimate Warrior. And then they have the famous segment with Hogan. It's like, this is not the Ultimate Warrior, brother. This is somebody, like, just straight up saying it. Because Jim Hellwig was not too fond of his likeness being used as promotional material in WCW.
I don't think Jim Hellwig was fond of much.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he didn't really like anything. But especially that. So it's one of those deals when you look at the story of the Renegade himself, Rick Wilson, it's a very tragic story.
Yeah.
It really, like, I don't think people are going to, like, I think that will be one of those surprising stories for people, just how tragic it was, because obviously he came in as the Renegade. They were like, oh, we're going to find our own Ultimate Warrior. And you thought Ultimate Warrior was a bad wrestler?
Yeah.
Like, poor Rick Wilson was thrown out there way too early in his training. And they're like, he could fill in. He could just do the same mannerisms as Ultimate Warrior. It just did not work.
No, he cannot.
And it's also famous because when the Ultimate Warrior did show up in WCW, they had when it was the War Games match, and they're in the cage, and they have all the different warriors being transported around the arena. And then there's the famous one in the middle of the ring, and the smoke's going in, and he's doing the Ultimate Warrior thing, and the smoke comes in. Hogan attacks him. It's like, oh, he just beat up the Ultimate Warrior. It's like, no, that was actually the fake warrior. And that fake warrior was Rick Wilson, the former Renegade, being used. And the reason why I mentioned earlier with Bulldog and his injury, because that was the same show where Bulldog landed his back on the trap door that they were going to use to bring like him in. But it's WCW, and it totally screwed up Bulldog's back and led to all sorts of, led to his death, quite frankly.
Yep.
With all the painkillers he had to get on and whatnot to just try and move on from that injury. So, but the Rick Wilson stuff, I think people are going to be taken aback because he got blamed for a lot of stuff when, quite frankly, he probably shouldn't have been blamed for, and he really took it on himself. And the story ends very tragically. I'll save it for the Dark Side of the Ring episode, but
and look, it's called Dark Side of the Ring, right?
Yep.
Like it's not a happy-go-lucky show. Like some of these shows just don't end well.
Yep.
But they're telling the story. It's like, that's the whole point of the show. It's the other side of professional wrestling. It's the dark side. It's the things we don't normally talk about.
Yep. Like I can't go back and watch that Chris Benoit episode. Like, it was so well done and so well made, but I can't go back and watch that Chris Benoit episode because it's just going to make me so sad.
Yeah. So that's the lineup this year, July 7th, the premiere, TNA Wrestling and Jeff Jarrett. It's a 3-part special. Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, the Big Boss Man, Ray Traylor, Missy Hyatt, Samoa Joe, and Necro Butcher, and their match from 2005 in IWA Mid-South, Zach Gowen, and the Renegade, Rick Wilson, is your lineup. Uh, it's a good lineup. Like it's, and we'll see how interesting the Zach Gowen one is. But there's always one or two that you're like less interested in than some of the other ones.
Yep.
So, for me, it's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah, and there's still wrestlers that they could pick from. I know that they were working on a Mike Awesome episode where I was like, oh yeah, give me a Mike Awesome episode. Like that's my guy in Mike Awesome. But apparently there was stuff with the family that like they didn't want it to be told and they didn't want to work on it. So they kind of, I think it was that. And I think there was supposed to be a Scott Hall episode, but those have both been shelved. I'm like, oh man, I would have absolutely loved a Mike Awesome episode because that guy, lack of better term, was awesome. Like, I mean, go back and watch those Masato Tanaka matches and like try and watch, and I'm going to be that guy for a moment, and try and watch those WWE hardcore matches. And it's just like the chair shots, like you don't do them nowadays because they're bad chair shots, but it's weird in that context of the match where you're just like holy jeez. Right.
But he would do crazy things off the top to the floor. Mike Awesome. Like I feel like if he was around today, he would be your favorite wrestler.
Oh,
like,
he would be absolutely my favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
Like the first time I see Tanaka, Awesome do the awesome bomb to Tanaka to the outside, I'm like, I'm in. Like, let's go. Like, I'm in. Like, it's such an iconic spot to the point when other wrestlers do that spot. I remember seeing it at C4. It was, I believe it was Bishop, Josh Bishop, who looks like Psycho Sid. We always talk about whenever we see Josh Bishop. And one called Mathers, who former teammate of George Kittle at Iowa, and then became a pro wrestler. They did the Tanaka Awesome spot, and I literally got up on my chair like, Tanaka Awesome! Like I was that guy. I was like, oh my god, I didn't think I'd see that live. And then I went back to watch the replay, and the commentators also yelled, Tanaka Awesome! Tanaka Awesome! Tanaka Awesome! I was like, yes, we're on the same wavelength here when it comes to that spot.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
So great.
Yeah, so there's more that they can do, but this is a good lineup for 2026. Speaking of good lineups, as I segue, how about the lineup that Darby Allin is on defending the AEW World Championship? So he wins the championship from MJF on Dynamite. So he beats MJF. He then wrestles Tommaso Ciampa, and like we're still talking about the match.
It's so good.
Like it is.
Maybe my favorite TV match this year, and there's a lot of good TV matches there this year.
And we're only in May, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
But Tommaso Ciampa, and then Brody King. He wrestled Kevin Knight on this week's Dynamite. He set up not one, but two matches after he beat Kevin Knight.
Yep.
He's going to fight Pac on Fairway to Hell coming up this Saturday. This Saturday. And then next week on Dynamite, he's going to face the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. And we have to get to this. So the lineup for Darby Allin, it's like if I'm going to get a title run, and I'm probably never going to get the title back after this, like when I lose it, I'm going to get in every match I possibly can. I'm going to make them great. I don't know if the Kevin Knight one was great, but it was good.
I really like the Kevin Knight one. I liked it more than the Brody King one. We'll say that.
Yeah, I'm going to come up with a controversial take, and I shouldn't. Like an hour 44 into it.
Yes.
It probably needs to be saved for another show. But I'm lukewarm on Kevin Knight. Like, I know he can do some great stuff. I know that he can, he's got kind of I don't want to say the Javon Evans, but he does stuff that not a lot of other guys can do.
Yep.
I totally get it. And I see what people like in him, but this charisma thing, it's missing with me. Like something's missing with his delivery. And God, they put him in the spot with MJF and Mike on Mike. I'm like, oh man, this kid's getting destroyed. And MJF is trying to like guide him along. And it just feels like he's too new at that part of the game to be pushing him as hard as they are.
Yep.
It's like, we got a new star. We're gonna show you our new star. Well, okay, but and look, this might just be my take. He's good. It's not like I think he's bad, but there's something missing from him right now.
Yep.
So I thought this match was good. Not great. I know what you're saying about the Brody match, but I also think the things that Brody did to Darby Allin because of the size difference was like, wow. Wow. But Darby's on quite a run until he got on the microphone and MJF came out and he's like, no, you're not getting anything until you put it on the line. Put something on the line. He said, well, I'll give you my scarf. No, that's not going to cut it. Which is fair. It's a nice scarf, but probably not worth a match.
Yep. I mean, mid-90s WWF, they put, Brett's jacket was on the line against PCO, Pierre Carolette, so you never know.
So then he upped it to the diamond ring, which I guess is a knockoff because didn't Bandito win the diamond ring?
If I recall, I thought he had won the diamond ring, so some sort of version of it.
Bandito won the diamond ring in the like battle royal. Isn't there a battle royal for the diamond ring and Bandito won it? Am I mistaken on that?
No, 2025, Bandito was the winner, beating Ricochet.
Right.
As the runner-up in the Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Okay, so this is a knockoff. So then Darby's like, no, I'm not taking, he didn't say the knockoff, but like, I'm not taking the ring. And then MJF go, okay, all right, kid. $1 million. And Darby very quickly, like, I'm homeless, lived in my car, your money's not good here, pal. Okay. He's holding out for even more than that. And then he says he wants his hair. And Zach, I had this moment. And I don't want to have those moments, especially with AEW, because I do get those moments, unfortunately, with WWE. But I'm not going to pretend like I didn't have that moment. First of all, at least they were smart. They waited until the end of Dynamite, and I had to change channels.
Yep.
And go over to
USA
Network.
Canadian version.
Yeah. Right. Which is confusing to people.
Still doesn't make any sense to me, but
the Canadian version of the USA Network.
Correct.
And I had to go over that. And by the time I got over there, suddenly they're raising Kevin Knight's hand and everyone's friends. And then MJF comes out. So they waited until after Dynamite. But Zach, I had a very, come on. You can do better than that. So I did not like the stipulation about his hair, maybe because I built it up in my mind that I thought it was going to be Hangman Page and he gets his shot back. Like he's going to have to put something up for real. Is this the end of the feud? Maybe it's not the end of the feud. I don't know. But how did you kind of take this where Darby didn't want $1 million, but he wanted something like his hair that, okay, like he made a comment he had to go to Turkey and get like hair implants or whatever he did. But let's be honest, if he shaves his head, most of it's coming back. And I'm sure he's got enough money to go get it fixed again. If he really wants to go get it fixed again, really not that big of a deal. So $1 million or a couple months of looking a little weird.
I would have taken the $1 million. I'll tell you that. I'm like, give me that money. I'm in. Like, I know you offered it, MJF, but $1 million is $1 million. Yeah, I was kind of, I didn't hate it, but I get what they're going for. You know, he's going after the pride of MJF and like, he's very prideful of his hair. Like, I get it.
But I wouldn't have thrown out the $1 million then. Like,
yeah,
because the hair seems a lot less than the $1 million.
Yeah. In my mind too. Absolutely. Now, if it was both, is like $1 million and the hair, like then we're kind of entering into interesting territory. But yeah, I mean, I was on it. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, even before then, I said it on the last episode. I'm like, MJF's getting the title back. Like, I see where this story is going. Although I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Darby was able to retain the belts.
No,
over,
don't say that.
MJF,
No. Sorry, Zach. Maybe it's because it's getting late.
Yeah.
The Foxes just ran by. But you're not getting away with that. Oh,
right.
maybe I could see Darby retaining. Who told you that this was going to be the Flair Steamboat trilogy?
You did.
Okay, so then with that happening, Darby's going to beat him in the next encounter, and MJF's still going to be mad, and he's still going to then get his title back later. So don't give me this, I wouldn't be surprised, because you weren't hopping on that bandwagon when I said it. I didn't hear you go, yeah, absolutely. You did not do that.
I did not hop on that bandwagon.
No. So none of this, I won't be surprised if crap. Okay?
All right, I'll say it then. I do think MJF's going to beat Darby Allin. I think they're getting everything in as much as they can. Like, as you mentioned, facing off against Pac this Saturday, and then Okada is already faced off against Brody King and Kevin Knights and Tommaso Ciampa. Like, getting all these matches in, and then like it's eventually just going to be too many defenses for him. And then MJF getting the title back on pay-per-view, in my mind, is how they're going with it. Because you can't I don't think you could do a super lengthy title reign, especially with the story that they're doing with Darby at this point with him. So, but in terms of the hair stipulation, like, I got what they were going for.
Can I just interrupt? Because I want to hear what you think it's going to go afterwards. Yep. But can I just argue that they've done all of this on TV?
Yep.
Like, this whole run has not been on pay-per-view, right? Like, Darby Allin won the title on television. He's defending the belt every week on television. So my answer to you is that he's going to lose it on television as well. Like, you're gonna continue that story all along. You're not gonna have people see on TV, like people who don't, I know it's a tease to watch the pay-per-views, but people who don't pay for those pay-per-views, but they want to watch the TV every week, they're going to watch Darby win it. They're going to watch Darby defend it. They're going to watch Darby ask him for a stipulation. He's going to, match after match after match. And then Darby's just going to lose it at a time where people can't see it. Like, the hardcore fan will see it, but
yep,
the people who have watched all along, because this story never played out on pay-per-view. So I guess my thought is that it will peak and then it will drop. It will open and close on television and not on pay-per-view, but they will get a really good match on pay-per-view, that something will happen in that match. And maybe that is that MJF loses his hair. They're already promoting. I don't know if you saw AEW put out on social media the sort of blurred picture of MJF, but without hair, and saying that MJF doesn't want these pictures out. So please stop. Like,
right.
Please
stop. The reverse psychology thing. Yeah.
Please stop making these pictures with MJF with no hair, because he doesn't like it. And we would really like you to stop, but they're doing it themselves. Like, it's blurred, but they're doing it themselves and they're just encouraging it. So I guess I want to hear how you see the story playing out. But now that they've done this, and now they're putting it on social media, and now they're doing that, like him with the bald head and everything else, you're telling me that he's just going to beat Darby, and they're never going to, they're just not going to shave his hair, and he's going to be fine, and MJF's going to move on and face a real, not a real opponent, but like a serious storyline or another storyline that doesn't involve Darby after that?
I think that would kind of actually be apropos of how MJF views Darby. Like, he could go out there and say, oh, that was just a fluke. Like, I wasn't ready. I was only there on short days notice, but now I got my rest, and this is what I was able to do. And you guys wanted to have my head shaved, but that's not happening. You could keep that as a tease for the future, where that's kind of a new part of his character, where it's like, he's clearly self-conscious about his hair, and that could be something in the future. So I think that would actually work great for this storyline in terms of how MJ MJF views Darby Allin as someone who's inferior to him and doesn't view him as highly. And it's like, oh, I lost that belt from a fluke. And, you know, he wouldn't give me this title defense until I had to give up something and I was able to win. It's all kind of building up to the heel thing. Because again, I don't think this is going to be a long running defense. I understand what you mean about it began on television. You can see it end on television. But I think it's there is a certain thing in my mind where it's like he was so good on TV, but when it comes to pay-per-view, he's just not able to get the big title defense on pay-per-view in my mind. So so I kind of view it. Not to say like that could be the end of it after the pay-per-view, you know, like maybe you do some sort of a TV rematch of some sort.
What if you do on pay-per-view what they did with the Flair Steamboat? Do you know what they did? In the
Remind
middle
me there.
was a draw.
That's right. Oh, like a time limit draw on the pay-per-view?
Yeah. They did a time limit draw with Flair and Steamboat, and people wanted to see it again. Like Steamboat beat them, and then they did the draw. Now they did the draw. Did they? Am I thinking about that correct? Did they do the draw, or Steamboat beat him, but Flair's shoulder was
like a dusty finish sort of deal? Been a while since I've watched those matches.
Yeah, you would think I should have researched this before, but I feel like I've watched them so many times that and that's the thing about these matches is the brilliance is actually in like the middle of the matches and not necessarily at the end. So if I'm remembering correctly now, they did it where Steamboat beat him. They both had their shoulders on the mat, like Steamboat basically suplexed him, had his shoulders on the mat. Flair's shoulders are on the mat, and then Flair put his foot very clearly on the rope, and Tommy Young never saw it.
Yep.
And Steamboat won the match, but even as the heel, you're like, yeah, that guy did not lose.
Right.
So he's going to get another match. What if he did something like that? And MJF's not going to get his hair cut because he didn't really lose. Like the referee missed it. You blame other people and you sort of build up to another match.
I could see that. That would be interesting. I still don't think you would have Darby get that belt back, but if you wanted to do that finish to kind of protect him a little bit, like I could be down for that finish.
So we're in agreement though that this is not a long run for Darby. I think where the disagreement comes is just where he's going to lose it. Yeah. I think he loses it to MJF at some point. I just don't know if that's a double or nothing. Like to me, I have questions on whether that's double or nothing, or Darby's able to get some sort of win. Maybe he shaves his head. He's not going to do movies for 6 months or a year, and he finds another way to get that title back. But I just didn't like the hair stipulation, I guess. I just felt really lackluster, really them building it up because they've been building that up for weeks on television.
Yep.
And I know it's something, and I don't know if the WWE fan is yelling at you right now, which they should be because they always should be yelling at you.
That's okay.
It's the road agent thing. Do you know what the whole premise of now apparently they're going to Stadium Stampede? What's the whole premise of Jericho and Ricochet?
Well, apparently the whole thing is Ricochet wants Jericho out of the company. He's been beating up each week doing it, and Jericho has made it a joke of his. And so now Ricochet is taking his move, and now he's going to use the match that he created at Stadium Stampede in order to fully get Jericho out of the company.
But what do people always make fun of Ricochet for, and what does Jericho keep saying under his breath?
Well, he's not great with promos and being bald.
Being bald.
Yes.
Bald is a big thing with Ricochet. And Chris Jericho continually calls him bald. That's because he has no hair. I don't know if you knew that's what bald meant, but
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Right. So they're using the hair thing in another one of the things that is going to be featured on pay-per-view at the same pay-per-view that a guy's putting his hair on the line, like in
Yes.
the world title.
Yes.
That's not great, Zach. It's not.
It is not. No.
Like, and it's Ricochet and Jericho, and good on them. I don't know whether I'm interested, maybe because I don't know who the teammates are. Maybe it's the Hurt Business. I don't care if it is. Like, I don't know who. And the Stadium Stampede, where a guy challenged a guy 3-on-1. Isn't there supposed to be 5 guys on each side?
Yeah.
Who challenges somebody to a Stadium Stampede match when it's 3-on-1?
Well, they're saying that Jericho has no friends in this company. He won't be able to find them. But,
Yeah, and I know the Hurt Business came and saved him again at the end or whatever. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying here, I guess the point is that they are using the bald head in one of their feuds that is like 5th or 6th down the line. It's creating the Stadium Stampede match, but it's not a top feud.
Yeah.
And they're also using it in the world title feud, like the same thing. Come on.
Yeah, same semblances of it.
Come on. That's not great.
But look, I mean, you talk about the people that are kind of involved with that too when it comes to Stadium Stampede, and that's going to go in. And I think obviously you're going to have some Jericho influence with like groups of the past. Like, would it really be shocked if Sammy Guevara shows up to help Chris Jericho in the Stadium Stampede match against Ricochet and his cronies? So look, I mean, I agree with you in terms of that, but I think the big thing is when you look at the people involved, especially Hurt Business, is that the Hurt Business, they hurt people. So I want that to kind of be the big thing that you take away from Stadium Stampede.
No,
did another live show. Let's go.
No. You know what? For some reason, I just didn't see it coming. I thought you were gonna get into like parts of the Inner Circle were gonna come back, and parts of the Jericho Appreciation Society were gonna come back, and like all of his, the past groups that he has led, the Learning Tree, are gonna be there. Like all of these people are gonna come to help him.
Yep.
And you went with the Hurt Business.
With a bit.
Hurting people.
They hurt people, Lee.
So I don't love. I was disappointed. I was let down by the hair stipulation. What I'm not let down by is kind of this intertwining of a feud of Will Ospreay from New Japan and the United Empire and Callum Newman, who's not happy, and calling him a Death Rider, and he continues to say he's not a Death Rider, but then he's over on AEW and he is listening to the Death Riders. He's training with Wheeler Yuta on his back. And then, Doc Sampson's like, I don't know what you've been doing as training, but man, like, you weren't great before, but this training that you're doing, we're going to keep that up. Whatever you're doing, like, I'm the doctor, but whatever you're doing, just keep doing that. And then you might be good to go. We might clear you next week. Like, come, Zach.
Where are they finding these doctors?
I want to like the product, but come on. And Richard says, I actually miss Daddy Magic and his antics. Yeah.
I know you don't, Lee, but I do miss.
No, but like his character is not bad, but I don't need to see Michael Menard in the ring. I just don't.
Matt Menard, my friend.
Whatever. It's the same.
How dare you
thing.
call him Michael?
Michael
Matt Menard.
Michael Matthew Menard.
Big magic, buddy. Big magic.
No, Daddy Magic.
Well, he was big. Sorry, he was big magic on the Indies. Daddy Magic.
Well, he was Matthew.
Right.
So
Daddy Magic security. I remember big magic security on the Indies as well.
Yeah. Where was I?
They hurt people.
No, we were past that.
Oh, we were past that.
Yeah, we were past that.
You're talking about how the doctor was clearing Will Ospreay.
Yes, thank you. Michael Sampson. I just don't get it. I actually like the storyline with Will Ospreay kind of learning what it takes. Like he's 99%. Like it makes sense to me. He is at that 99%. He's like the next guy, but he still needs to do something to get over the top.
Yep.
And training with the Death Riders and kind of learning, what to do and to rid himself of all of the stuff that's kind of inside him that controls his emotions. Like it's a good storyline, and it certainly would pay off if he fought John Moxley at the end of it in the Owen to earn the title shot. So I like the fact that they're doing this. I sometimes things along the way though don't make sense to me, but I am enjoying that storyline. Are you?
Yeah. Oh, I think the storyline's very good. It was a little borderline when he kidnapped the guy. I'm like, oh, we don't have to do that. But in terms of the overall, like how they're trying to play off the story, I think it's a very good story. Was it a little goofy that the doctor was like, yeah, he's doing all these things. It was like, I can't explain it, but he's doing a great job. I'm like, where are you hiring these doctors? Like, do your job.
Speaking of the doctor, how about Will Ospreay saying, and it totally reminded me of Ric Flair, that his surgery cost more than his house.
Yes.
And one of the greatest promos of all time is when Flair was just like ramping up and ramping up and ramping up, and finally he just went and picked his shoes up, and his shoes cost more than your house.
Yeah, so good.
But I actually believe Will Ospreay that, with some of the medical costs and things that are going on down there, and I'm sure Tony Khan wanted to look after him and make sure that, this is another point that he just tells you that Will Ospreay is the star of the company, right? Like Tony Khan took care of all of his surgeries and everything. And yeah, he might do that for other people too, but this is his number one guy, and he needs him to be back, as a big part of it. So, Will Ospreay coming out and saying like, yeah, I'm pretty grateful. Surgery costs more than my house.
Yep. He starts stomping his shoes down and taking the jacket off, throwing it down, and dropping the elbow as he says it.
It's one of the greatest promos of all time.
It's so good.
I was going to ask you, just going back to Darby for a second, do you like the fact that he is like, they're great matches? He's going to face Pac. He's going to face Kazuchika Okada. And we know he's probably not losing, but with the fact now that like he wanted something from MJF and that's who he's going to face at the pay-per-view, and they do this, well, if I get by Kazuchika Okada, like I'm just going to roll past Kazuchika Okada.
Yes.
Like I'm just going to, if I happen to get past Brody King. So do you like the fact that he's going to face Pac coming up? He's going to face Kazuchika Okada. He's had these matches where you already know he's not going to lose those matches because he's facing MJF at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Especially with the quality of matches, I think that's really the big thing when you do stuff like this is like, sure, it might be a little bit predictable, but you're still going to get a quality match coming out of it.
Yep.
So I don't have an issue with it personally. Now, if he was going out there and having stinkers and then he sets up these other matches like, well, don't really need this, like keep it a little bit more unpredictable. But this title reign has been very, very good. I've been having a lot of fun with this title reign, if I'm being honest, with the way that they've been doing it. And I just really like the story they're telling with this. So I'm all for them going ahead with it, because at the end of the day, the people that they're going ahead with is Pac and Kazuchika Okada. Two guys I'm fairly confident are going to go out there and have at least a good match with Darby Allin. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just wanted to ask that because it's like they're announcing these matches and they've already announced the other match, and he's never going to lose.
Yeah.
I don't know that if you know that Alistair, don't call me Malachi, or don't call me Alistair, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Malcontent.
Yeah. He's in negotiations, Zach, with AEW.
Well, apparently he's also not. Like he's
Oh. So what you're saying is like he put out the report himself, and like within an hour, Tony Khan's like, no.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not playing this game here. Awesome. Like I saw that, I was like, Tony, come on. You can't, like, this is why for some wrestlers you have a reputation of feeling like they could walk all over you if you're in negotiations. So it was pretty funny, and that never happens with negotiations, for AEW. If they're negotiating with somebody, that they shut down and say, no, we are not negotiating with this guy.
Right.
Like that so I thought it was pretty definitive when Fightful came out. It's like AEW officials adamantly deny that there are negotiations ongoing with Aleister Black. Now you can make the argument it's a 90-day deal, so they might be worried about it, where if it gets out that they're negotiating while they're in the middle of the 90-day, even though it happens,
right?
You know what I mean? WWE could be like, oh, look at this, they're tampering. Like maybe we want to bring back, Aleister Black. Like I know it sounds silly, but that is a thing you have to keep aware of, especially after the Andrade situation.
Yeah, the legal aspects for sure. And you're right, they haven't always been perfect.
Yep. And so, but having said all that, I did get a kick out of that. It's like, nice try, Aleister. I know you wanted to leak that out there and try to get some interest going. Nice try, buddy. But you just keep on making those socks and talk about how deep and intrinsic those socks are and how much meaning there is. Meanwhile, AEW will just continue to go on. But like I said before, if they do hire him, and I can already hear the AEW fans just like, if he does get hired, it's like, well, you saw what happened with Andrade and like how they were able to turn that around. It's not about the matches. It's about the public perception, the look of bringing in a guy like that into your company. So, yeah. So I did get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I thought you would, like the reports come out. Oh, he's negotiating. No, he's not.
Oh, let's shut that one down real quickly. Put out that fire.
Didn't last long.
No, it did not.
Unlike this show, Zach, which has lasted 2 hours and 11 minutes so far.
Yes, that's right. Neat and tidy.
Yeah, that's gonna, you know what? I feel like this is kind of where people expect it now to be, unfortunately. Where they're like, I kind of like the long shows.
Yeah. But I'm still blown away by that. Whenever I see them in the comments, oh, I love the longer shows. Oh boy. All right.
So I know we've covered, like, I didn't expect to talk about the WWE and Backlash for almost an hour. Before what's going on in the WWE, and then the card itself, and then Dark Side of the Ring.
Yep.
See, Richard, this is when you do live shows. Richard's like, I've been able to put the kids to bed, do dishes and laundry. Yeah. And he says, I want you to go longer.
Insane.
Well, I don't know. What's the score of the hockey game, Richard? That's always
that's a great question.
That's always a key for us.
It reminds me with the Wrestling Observer, whenever they do their shows, when all Brian Alvarez will do will be like, the ratings, Dave, talk about him. And then he's silent for the next half hour. Like you don't hear from Brian Alvarez for the next half hour. Like I assume that's what he's doing. He's getting his dishes done while Dave's talking about the ratings and just doing the laundry.
And I have to be honest with you, I don't hate Dave Meltzer like other people seem to hate him.
Well, it also comes from like people that spread bad stuff about him. So
yeah.
I'm a Dave guy, so.
But I also don't love listening to him.
He's not the greatest speaker. No.
Like he could rap whatever he's talking about. And look, as a host of a show that's gone now 2 hours and almost 13 minutes, I understand that people are going to say, hey, wait a minute. But when he talks about the ratings or whatever it is, he could just say it in about 30 seconds. And he takes 10 minutes, and it's just, I don't know what he's saying anymore.
Yeah.
But
because when you go back and you listen to those older Observer shows, he's actually pretty decent. So I don't know if it's just.
Well, that's it. It's the decline.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you could tell because there's so much happening in that brain of his that it's trying to figure out which path he wants to go down next. So yeah, it is pretty fun. But I do get a kick out of these modern Observers like, all right, Dave, Monday Night Raw. And then he just lets Dave talk about Raw for the next.
I do like Brian Alvarez. I mean,
I've been a long time listener of Brian Alvarez all the way back to the Brian Mini shows when we were talking about TNA earlier. I remember listening to those TNA reviews.
Yeah.
-5 stars. Still resonates in my head. So like I tell people, you probably hear some Brian Alvarez in my rants whenever I lose my mind, but you didn't hear it this episode.
No,
I'm a new man, Lee.
It's 1-0. Carolina leading Philadelphia at the end of one. The Flyers, had a chance to even that series up, couldn't do it. We're up 2-0. The first team to even take a lead on Carolina at all. But they let it slip away. My boy Travis Konechny had a breakaway in overtime, couldn't convert, and they lost. So really, Philly's season's on the line at home here in game number 3.
Yep.
I know that you're just the Zote, right? The Zach of all trades. And as we mesh this in with other things going on OSN, I don't know if it's a big thing for you, but NCAA's gone to 76
Saw that
in March Madness.
I'm not the biggest college basketball guy. That's kind of been out. College football. I don't know if you saw that announcement that Syracuse and Wake Forest are going to have a game at BMO Field. So I'm looking forward to that.
I did.
I'm going to try and go to that game once the tickets get on sale. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. But college basketball's not my purview.
They're already it was 64 and then it got to 68 with the play-in games. And you're like, I don't know. Like it does get to a point where you're diluting, like you're making more product, but you're not having better games.
Right.
Like this you're gonna have the same amount of like great endings as you've always had, and you're just gonna have more duds. Yes, you're gonna have more volume and TV and all that stuff, which
is the name of the game nowadays.
Yeah, so. That's the only thing that matters to everyone, but you're just gonna have more duds.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Zach, that's probably it. Because we're gonna have to do a Hogan. We're not doing that today, but we're gonna do the Hulk Hogan documentary.
Yep. That'll be coming up. Looking forward to that.
Netflix.
I should mention before we sign off.
Zach, I know. Okay. You don't have to tell me to preview your schedule because you're the hardest working man in show business and you're the Zach of all trades. I get it, Zach. I was going to get to it. You don't have to tell me that you're doing Acclaim tomorrow night here in Ottawa at the Dom Polsky Hall.
Yep.
Ring time, bell time is 7:30.
Yes, the show will start at 7:30 this time, so it'll be a little bit later.
But, the Righteous are going to be there.
That's right. TNA is the Righteous. I've been watching some of their matches to prep for this upcoming show. Look, there's like, oh, you're the Zach of all trades. I'm like, you were the one that bestowed that nickname of Zach of all trades, just for the record.
No, I know that, but it's just the trust that you don't have in me that I'm going to get to it. I'm not going to say goodbye without making sure that Zach's schedule is front and center. Okay,
to get my stuff over, Lee. You know, I
will get your shit over. Okay.
Thanks.
Yes, I know. I waited till 2 hours and 17 minutes.
Right at the end, it's like, oh, all right. I'll have to go to the audio file later. It's okay. No, I am looking forward to Acclaim tomorrow. There are still tickets available as we record. So if you want to head, I think there's still a couple online tickets, but it's selling fast. I think last I checked, there was like 15 tickets left or something like that. So if you wanted to go to Acclaim tomorrow night or Friday night, depending on when you're listening to this,
so who's going to be there? Like, and who are the Righteous facing, and what are some of the matches that are going on?
So the Righteous are facing off against the team of Mark Wheeler and Jesse V. Locked and Loaded. I'm really looking forward to that. Locked and Loaded are one of the top teams in all of the Ontario Indies. So if you've ever seen Jesse V, he's a man that is not only just a massive individual, but he's also very athletic for a guy his size too. Imagine a 275-pound muscle man doing the Shane McMahon corner-to-corner drop kick spot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he is.
What Kevin Knight did on Darby Allin, right?
Yes, but add on like 60 more pounds of muscle or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a bigger dude. So that's one of them. There's a couple of women's matches on the show that I'm interested to see where it goes. The women's championship's on the line against Tara Zepp. There's also going to be a match between Kristara and Drea Mitchell.
Okay.
I believe Kristara was part of that recent crew that went to see Bailey. I know Drea Mitchell for sure was part of that Lodestone group of the women's wrestlers that went to Bailey's boot camp there. Storm Ryder's taking on Dexter Doom. Storm Ryder, the brother of London Lightning. He has been fully embracing his 1992 Scott Steiner look with the mullet, but also with the wrestling too. And I'm like, oh, we need more 1992 Scott Steiners out there in
I
pro wrestling.
feel like the Outrunners are already here.
Oh, no, the Outrunners are not Steiner brothers. I love the Outrunners, but they're not
80s.
Steiner brothers.
They're
more 80s and they're more cartoonish, so Leah Sparks is going to take on Casey Diamond. Leah Sparks was on Canada's Got Talent, if I recall, as part of an aerialist group, and she's a very, very good wrestler, very athletic. So that's another one.
We've seen Casey Diamond at C4 as well.
Yeah, saw Casey Diamond at C4. And so those are the main ones that have been announced. Another one, Dino Benjamin, who's been a long time staple at Acclaim. He's taking on Alvin Turner. So the one I'm interested in, the Beer League All-Stars, Hard Cam LeDuc, who was on the show as part of our Rumble pool in the past. They're taking on the tag team of KPK, Karu, and Ahmed. That's a team I've heard a lot of good things about, so that'll be the first time I've seen them live. So I'm excited to see that one as well. Excellent. And Thomas LeDuc, he has taken his jerseys and he has thrown them at me in the middle of the matches, just hard fastballs right at me. So I'm trying to anticipate that one again. So
Hard Cam, love the nickname. Yes. Hard Cam.
Yes.
All right. Well, Acclaim coming up tomorrow night as we record this.
Yep.
So Friday night. And bell time 7:30. Some tickets left.
Yep.
Speaking of live events, Richard says, just thought of this. Someone wants to make a sign to bring to the Ottawa WWE Raw, and it was to have your logos on it. You think WWE would get angry? Maybe just a QR code. First of all, you're allowed to bring any sign you want.
Yep.
Until they shut it down. But
of course, until they take it away.
But Richard, let me tell you. So at the end of August, and I believe tickets today was the pre-sale.
Yep.
And the general public sale will go on tomorrow, Friday. So if you're listening to this on Friday, then tickets will be on sale for Monday Night Raw at the end of August, coming up here in Ottawa. But I can tell you, Richard, that This Is Wrestling will have a group going. We will make that happen.
Yep.
Okay. As part of the OSN, getting into the fall, it's right around the time that we all need to be kind of getting set for a bunch of stuff that are going to be happening on OSN, whether it's, hockey or football or all kinds of things. And yes. And Richard, if you see the sign in the background here, we already have one that's got the OSN and the This Is Wrestling logos on it that we might have brought that. The first ever appearance of the sign that's in the background here.
Yep.
It was at C4 as we sat in the balcony. And that's the first time it was ever out. First time the public ever got to see it. So we will be getting groups together and we will make sure that the This Is Wrestling and OSN will be well represented at Raw. What does this mean, Zach?
$98 for 200 level seats.
Well, we won't be sitting there.
That is the cheapest ticket, by the way. That's on sale for the pre-sale.
That's the cheapest ticket?
$98 is the cheapest. Yes.
Oh, boy.
I was looking through, I was like, oh, boy. That was...
Yeah, that's not so good.
We're going to find a way, Lee.
Yeah, well...
we might have to drag Tanner Ryle, kicking and screaming, but he will be there too.
Yeah, we are going to drag that guy. You can't pick and choose. Like, you're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe Ben Sublier as well. I'm sure some people will say me too, but...
No, but you see, Zach, I would not be worried about because you understand the brand. You understand what, the purpose of the evening is.
Yep.
The other two, I don't know.
We will have to kind of drag them a little bit.
I know we're just, you know what it is? It's like I almost don't want to because we're going to have to hear so much before we get there. It's just like, I don't know if I can do it. However, we'll get them out there, and we're gonna make a group thing of it for This Is Wrestling, and I will be endeavoring at some point to use a connection or two to make that event an OSN This Is Wrestling event. So we'll see what I can do.
There you go.
We'll see what I can do. I feel confident right now, but it's also May and it's not August. But I feel confident in May.
Yes,
that we can make that happen.
Yep.
So Richard, for just $98, you can be a part of it too. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We'll try and do the McAfee thing and be like, oh, 25% off tickets. I recommend not going to the Toronto SmackDown because that show sucks.
I would. All I can tell people is if I would not pay $98 to sit in the 200 level, if I was able to get another area, I would not be asking people to pay that themselves. That's what I would tell people.
Yes.
Oh, Richard's got a quick story here. Richard's been with us the whole time. I love it.
Whole thing.
Yeah. Have a couple of new friends I met through my kids at school who swear were walking up the last minute with no tickets. They told me they went to SmackDown in Toronto last year. No tickets. Just walked up with no tickets, traveling all the way. Insane. Well, I think you can always get tickets through a scalper, through people outside the building. And there's always last minute tickets that are put up on from the WWE, but to walk in and not pay for them, then that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be traveling on the idea that like I'm not paying for that ticket. So if we don't get in, we're just gonna turn around and drive home.
You just walk in like you belong there. That's how you do it. You come in with a suit and you're like, look, I'm part of the company. I'm wearing this suit, as you can tell.
So what you do at Acclaim?
Absolutely. Yes. I just walk in and they're just like, he's got a microphone in his hand. I guess he's doing commentary tonight. So, and then I just come in.
What? That might be a bit for me, like a gimmick. I'm going to walk into these shows with a suit and like with a mic that doesn't plug into anything. Like just like a mic and a cord, but like a cord that just goes to nowhere and go, you know what? I'm here to call the show. You can see, like I'm here. I'm ready to call the show.
The man's in a suit. How can we deny him? You know,
like, right? Like, where is the booth? Because I'm here.
Right. Yes. I just want to see that happen. You know, now that you put it, I do kind of want to see that happen. I'll be like, oh, there's Lee. Oh, he's getting into the back of the building. Oh, all right.
All right. Just pick up this mic, and I'm gonna unplug it, and just walk up. Like this, and
cord dragging on the ground.
guys, and I'll just like say a random like generic Mike. Oh yeah, no, this is Mike. Jason, I'm here, Mike. Hey, where do you want me to go? And like past the security people and the ticket people.
Yep.
Richard says, "Tell me one of you's getting dressed up in full cosplay." Richard. For one of our buddies' 40th birthday party, most of us decided that we were going to get dressed up. I'll let you guess who didn't. Richard?
They called me no gimmicks needed. That's why.
That's not why. Some lame excuse about the costume store didn't have it, or
they didn't have it.
Whatever. Like
I still have the receipt. I had to go to the Party City and get my refund on my Hornswoggle costumes. So
I can tell you that Ric Flair, Mankind, and the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, were well represented.
Yes.
That evening. I can tell you that.
That was a very fun night. And then there was me with everybody else. So like just in my regular attire. I'm standing right beside Mankind.
I don't think Tanner did either.
No, Tanner didn't, if I recall. No.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was the only one. Like,
well, you were the only one up in the booth for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave this up here. He just says Zach. That's correct, Richard. It was Zach.
I was got the Party City costume. Yeah. Always in gimmick.
He's always.
No, I'm not Hornswoggle. I know what he's trying to imply with that. And no, that is not the case. So.
Why would he need to go get a costume when he's already that? Now, is this a typo or is this what he wants you to be? Hornsnuggle.
I'm certainly not going to be Hornsnuggle if that is.
Get one of those, like.
Oh, the Snuggie?
The Snuggies. That's
yes. Oh, yes.
And wear it.
That's my gimmick.
Hornsnuggie.
Yeah.
See,
I'll go to people. Look, my favorite wrestler is Mike Awesome. While I'm in the Snuggie, and just the dichotomy of it all, Wasn't he great? I'm in my little Snuggie.
So funny. You in that costume, convincing people, like getting into it, telling people, no, Mike Awesome, Masawa Tanaka. Have you seen Masawa and Kawada? Have you seen that? Like,
you need to see one 4 pillars match in your life. I'm telling you.
Oh.
Okada Omega was great. I'm telling you this.
Amazing. All right, time to go.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah. That's a Thursday night for you. 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's a Thursday night for you.
Neat and tidy.
Neat and tidy. Something. Thanks for being with us, especially Richard, because he's been here the entire time, but we appreciate everyone who has dipped in and out of the program. We did cover a lot from WWE to AEW to Dark Side of the Ring.
Ed Turner,
lots of stuff. Acclaim. So we got our stuff in. Zach got the Hurt Business stuff. Zach got his Hurt Business stuff in, which is also important.
Yeah, I got my bits in and my promotional stuff. Like,
that's right.
That's why they call me the Zote, baby. I'm the Zach of all trades. I get it all done.
Doesn't matter if it takes you 10 minutes or 2.5 hours. You're going to get your bits in. You're going to get your promotional stuff over. All right.
Hit the pay window after that. Let me tell you.
That's right. Well, that's going to do it. I hope you enjoy this. If you're listening to the recording of it, not as good as you're listening live, but we don't tell people all the time that we're going to do it live. Sometimes we just click on the switch. So thanks very much, Zach. Enjoy Acclaim tomorrow. Hope you get some rest for that after the show, but enjoy that. And then we will talk to you soon because I'm sure you're going to watch Backlash.
Yeah, I will watch Backlash.
Right. You're going to be just tipping over with, we got to get on and talk about this. So
yeah, again, new me as we established on this episode. So I'm going to be there refreshed, open mind.
Right.
I'm going to love the dance. Just end the show right here. I'm having a tough time with that one.
Yeah. Well, Richard says we make a great team. I got a lot of stuff and I covered a lot of chores.
There you go.
You got a lot. Excellent. Okay. And enjoy that. And yes, we will have a review of Backlash. We're going to have the Hogan documentary stuff coming up. And, of course, AEW is leading to Double or Nothing coming up at a couple weeks in New York City, which should be fun. And then we get into all kinds of good stuff coming up in the summer with AEW coming to Montreal and Raw coming to Ottawa. So it's going to be, This Is Wrestling is going to be front and center as part of the OSN group. All right. Thanks very much, Zach. Appreciate it. And hope everybody enjoyed the Backlash preview? ?
Kind of.
Sort of.
More like preparation.
Right. Right. We prepared for the weekend.
Yes.
It includes Backlash.
Correct. Backlash. That's how I'm just going to intro the review next time. It's just going to be that.
Backlash. Dan Housen makes me laugh, man.
Yep.
That's going to do it for this edition of This Is Wrestling.